Alrighty, shall we get into it? Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Andrew Kirchhoff, and welcome to our Sunday morning live stream for Week 1 of the 2025 fantasy football season. Over the course of the next 3 hours, we're talking all things related to fantasy football as we are on our way to the start of Week 1. I know, yes, we've had 2 games, one on Thursday, one on Friday, but the real Week 1, the 7 hours of what we thought was commercial free red zone, the excitement, the Christmas Day feeling is almost upon us. In a couple hours, of course, we'll see a bunch of teams kick off. We'll see a lot of our speculations, a lot of our hopes and dreams potentially, of course, come to fruition, and some of them get crushed. But until then, we're talking all things fantasy football. Now, for those of you who are new around here and haven't typically been around these parts on a Sunday morning, and I will reference over the course of today's live stream the current rankings that filter on screen to the right side. Just a quick little reminder, the rankings on the right side are up to date as of this morning. These rankings are by position for running back, wide receiver, tight end, quarterback, kicker, and defense. Now, these players, or the players that are on screen, does not include any of the players who have already participated in games this week. So anybody on the Eagles, Cowboys, Chiefs, or Chargers are not included because, again, I don't need to include them when we're trying to set our best available lineups. It's currently for a half PPR, and as we go throughout today's episode, I will reference to these rankings so that if, in fact, you need your own question answered in regards to them, hopefully that can be accomplished. Now, besides the rankings on screen, for those of you who are Patreon members, those rankings have already been posted as of this morning. For those of you who went ahead and signed up via Betr, in regards to using my code in the last couple of days, in regards to taking care of all this, where you signed up using code Andrew, made that first time deposit minimum of 10, and made that first time play with a real cash play minimum of $1, those rankings have also been sent out. So be sure to check your email and take advantage of that. Outside of that, we're ready to go. Quick reminder, as it says right here, Super Chats, if you guys are going to send some in order to take, claim priority, please do me a favor and include all of your question within the super so I don't have to go looking for it. And also make sure that regardless of whether you send in a super and or a live stream question, make sure that it includes your scoring format. Thank you very much. So I did, Charlene, really quickly, first and foremost, I did read what you had to say before the stream started. Very kind of you. Thank you very much for the kind words. Greatly appreciate that. Much love. All right, shall we get into it? Yep. Okay, here we go. Tommy Vu has the first question of the day. Tommy Vu says the following. Says, good morning, Andrew. Good morning to all of you. Says, in my two leagues, full PPR, please help for the flex position. Pick one out of Josh Downs, DeAndre Swift, Juwan Jennings, or Chris Olave. Okay, let me check how I have Olave in comparison to DeAndre Swift in a full PPR. That's really, I think, just a question in my mind. As it stands right now, DeAndre Swift is my number 50 overall in a full PPR comparatively to Chris Olave, who is my number 53. They are the two closest to compete for the starting flex position for your team in a full PPR. I would lean towards playing DeAndre Swift in this circumstance. But yes, Chris Olave would be the second best option of the two. Obviously closely behind as there's only 2 players in between their ranks. So I would suggest playing DeAndre Swift there, but if you wanted to play Olave, I don't mind that. Thank you very much. Next question you had in your second league was Tyler Warren or Jerome Ford. Between the two of them, I'm pretty sure I'm going to play Jerome Ford there. Again, Quinshon Judkins isn't expected to play until next week, which will give the inside track to Jerome Ford, Dylan Sampson to get a pretty good workload share of opportunity today. Got to remember that Cincinnati Bengals run-stop defense was non-existent last year. Additionally, when Jerome Ford is the veteran back of the two, as it stands, I do have him ranked higher than Tyler Warren, and that would be the second league's flex position suggestion for my end. Thank you very much, Tommy. Good luck this week, man. Flotation sends it a question, says, my question, I sent it to you on Twitter. Let's get this dub. Absolutely. Let me go ahead and let me open my phone here. Let's see what you've gone ahead and sent my direction. All right. It says full PPR. My team is on the left. Little worried about my defense, but I think long-term makes sense instead of trying to stream. Overall, how do we feel about the matchup? Anything I should change? All right, so as it currently stands, you have Josh Allen, Jahmyr Gibbs, Aaron Jones, St. Brown, DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley, Mark Andrews, Tyron Tracy, Trevor Lawrence, and the Texans defense. Yeah, no, listen, I don't mind the Texans defense this week, actually. That's one of the lower scoring implicated games based on totals. So I like both the Rams and the Texans defense in a similar capacity because we would anticipate it's probably going to be a lower scoring game than trying to play one of these other defenses. Now, if you don't have the opportunity to stream a theoretical like Cardinals defense this week, in that kind of a circumstance, then yeah, I think this is the better of the alternatives, because I still have them ranked within the top 12 that you'll see filter on screen in just a moment. If not, it's already up. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking at the perfect time. But in regards to what you have available on roster, I'm not changing your lineup at all. I think I would leave it as such because I do prefer Tracy over a guy like Eckler coming off of the bench. As for Mark Andrews, obviously I prefer him over Hunter Henry that you have available to you. As to how I think your matchup is going to theoretically go, I mean, I think that because you have such a significant advantage in your quarterback position, considering you have Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence compared to his Caleb Williams, Matthew Stafford, I think that makes the difference as to you capturing that victory this week. But again, we'll see. Otherwise, don't change your lineup. You're good to go this week. Obviously, a far better looking team than it was this time last year, I would say. Flotation from my memory. And then you also had a follow-up. You said, side note, intro song just hyped me up for no reason. No. It's not for no reason. That song, for some reason, I don't know how I found it a couple years ago. That thing it just has all the makings of a perfect, let's get ready to go to war fantasy football kind of edge. Appreciate it, Flotation. All right, we had Rob Castle who sent in a question. Says, Shakir or Judy in a standard league? Got to play Judy there. Again, Shakir is going to be 100% dependent on reception points being his difference maker in comparison to Judy, who's going to be in a far better position in terms of yardage to be able to gain an advantage in comparison to Shakir, who last season only scored 4 receiving touchdowns in the 17 healthy games. So even him and Judy, not the most touchdown relevant players, but in terms of yardage, Judy with a Joe Flacco player, considering his average depth of target, should be in far better position in the standard format with 0 points per reception to succeed. Rob, thank you. Miracle Robinson didn't even send in a question. It says, thank you for all that you do. Thank you, Miracle. I appreciate that. Much love. Lock Screen Gaming sends in a question. Lock Screen, long time no see. Hope you're doing well on this wonderful Sunday as we approach week 1 of the season. Lock Screen says, hey, Andrew, year 3 watching. Okay, that's right, baby. You've been here for a while. It says, here's the team. We have Dak Prescott, unfortunately. Okay. Javonte Williams obviously vultured you a little bit there. Christian McCaffrey. Okay, who I'll mention. I'll talk about that in just a moment. You have James Conner, CeeDee Lamb, London. We have Kittle. We have Ladd. We have Lutz. And we have the Steelers defense. Your bench consisting of Matthew Golden, Tedero McMillan, Omarion Hampton, and Travion Henderson. Walker, Rice. Do I start Christian McCaffrey this week or Walker? Yeah, I mean, look, here's the way that I would approach it. Again, I currently have Christian McCaffrey ranked on screen, and as you guys will see, the rankings will filter through, and Christian McCaffrey is still up there. Now, this is under the assumption that he plays in the afternoon window. I mentioned this on yesterday's live stream, and I'll continue to try to reiterate this for those of you who have Christian McCaffrey on roster. Even though he sits at number 2, there is still a possibility in which he doesn't play this week. In the event in which he doesn't, you will need to have a pivoting option available to you on your bench to swap him out. Now, again, we'll know about, I would say, 12 p.m. PST, whether or not he is going to play. Because, again, that game starts at 1:05 PST. So an hour before, we'll get an indication. If, in fact, he is not available to play, then you would play Kenneth Walker, and that's an easy swap. But until then, if he's a full go, and they are starting him, and he is in the lineup for the 49ers, then he is in my fantasy lineup. Because at that point, the team is not only designated, but he is designated that he is healthy enough to go, which I'm sure they're not willing to take any risks in that matter. It's only week 1. If he wasn't 100%, they would make sure they hold him out. And of course, you have an available option in the form of Kenneth Walker to fill in for him in the case in which he does not play. So you're in a perfect position. Really stacked lineup to say the least here, though. Lock screen. So you're in a pretty good spot here for the season. Obviously, you just got to fix that Dak quarterback, and otherwise you're good to go. All right, moving on to the next question. We had Go Bills, who says, even if Christian McCaffrey plays, should I start him in a PPR or play Myers, Metcalf, Sutton, or Jones? Yeah, listen, the way that I see it, I would just much rather play Christian McCaffrey. Because if he is playing, then we're going to see the Christian McCaffrey that is going to get the bulk majority of the workload. It's not a matter of we're going to throw him out there and only have him play 30% of the offensive snaps. That's not the situation that we'll be in. If the organization comes out and feels so confident to start him and to have him active this week, then that gives us the indication that we should be playing him as well. Thank you. Appreciate it, Go Bills. Powerhouse sends in a question. Thank you very much, Powerhouse. Says, Superflex team is quarterback Jaden Daniels. We have Lamar Jackson as well. Okay, so it's pretty stacked. Oh, yeah, we talked about this team yesterday or the other day before that. So we have Henderson, we have Hampton, we have Sutton, Pickens, Egbuka's in the flex. Should I make any changes? Is this team a title team? I mean, I guess time will tell. Ultimately, the determining factor of that is going to be those 3 rookies that you have on roster. But I mean, really, you're not making any changes here. Agbuka's a fantastic flex play this week. Again, I have him ranked of the remaining wide receivers that are available in that top 20 conversation. So still in a very, very solid spot there to just immediately play. So considering the matchups, considering everybody you have on roster, I mean, yeah, fire them all up. You're good to go. Let's see here. We continue on with Scar Shiesty, who sends in a question. Says, in a standard scoring format, do I flex RJ Harvey or Tet McMillan? I would rather play Tet McMillan there personally. The way that I see it, between the two, I'd feel far safer with the potential of Tet McMillan, primarily because we don't know what the opportunity split is going to exactly entail between RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins. What is going on here? Let me just close all this. So once we get a clear indication, in the conclusion of week 1's contest, that'll really be an understanding of, okay, what we can do with RJ Harvey. But until then, Tet McMillan is going to be my suggestion between the two. I think in a game in which Carolina is taking on Jacksonville, this should be a higher scoring event. We should have a pretty good kind of back and forth ultimately in my mind. I mean, from my kind of speculation as to how that game is going to transpire, I would assume both Carolina and Jacksonville are going to be scoring because both of those defenses were 2 of the worst in the National Football League last year, and there hasn't been very many changes. I mean, obviously Carolina's changed a lot, but even with the changes they've made, I don't know if they're going to be enough today to stop the potential rain of points that the Jacksonville Jaguars will put forward. All right, thank you very much. But yes, I'll play Tet McMillan there. Powerhouse sent in a follow-up. Says, showed this team to you on Thursday. Your grade? I mean, really at this point, the grade will be determined okay, like if I had to just in a super flex format give it an outright grade, I'm probably thinking like 8.7, primarily because those 2 running backs and Pickens scare me. Pickens obviously scares me for a multitude of reasons, but ultimately it's just a matter of like, can those 2 running backs sooner rather than later be incredibly relevant as to where you drafted them, right? Because like a Hampton and a Henderson, especially in some of these leagues, we're going, 3rd, 4th round. So in a super flex, maybe they went in the 4th and 5th. But that's still a very high draft capital, kind of investment to their services. So if they're going to immediately help you, then that's fantastic. If not, if it's going to take a little while, like a month into the season for them to finally find full form, that makes it a little bit of a sketchier kind of path until then. Brian, Colorado, I see that you sent in a super. Again, if you guys can do me a favor, when you do send in supers, make sure that they include your question within them. Again, this is something that I've told you guys about over the live streams, whether it's this year, last year, but I will certainly try to go find your question in the live chat right now, because again, this is something that hopefully is available. Let's see if you typed it in the live chat. I do see it, but yeah, in the future, Brian, please do me the favor and just keep that within the super once it's sent in. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Says in my super flex format, couple questions. Tyrone Tracy or Breece Hall? I'd rather play Tyrone Tracy. It says, and Kyler's illness, do I start Lawrence and McMillan? Yeah, I mean, look, as of right now, I'm playing Trevor Lawrence regardless of Kyler's illness this week. So Trevor Lawrence will be my suggestion there. As you guys can see, Trevor Lawrence, my number 7 in comparison to Kyler, who sits at my number 9. And then your follow-up question was Lawrence and McMillan or Stroud and McMillan? I'm confused as to why we have to choose one of the two, but yeah, I would rather play Lawrence and McMillan, as I have Lawrence ahead of Stroud by a pretty significant margin in that situation. You said just quarterbacks with Stroud, and yeah, okay, yeah, cool. As of right now, yeah, Lawrence would be the suggestion with McMillan there, Brian. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Again, so really quickly, I just want to remind you guys, for those of you who are joining us this morning, first and foremost, good morning, welcome. There's about 700 of you in here. If you guys haven't yet already, do me a favor, click the like button down below. That is greatly appreciated. Again, over the course of the next hour and 2 hours and 45 minutes, we're talking all things fantasy. I will try to answer your guys' questions to the best of my ability, whether it's a direct answer and or via proxy of the rankings that are here. These rankings are updated as of this morning, and they do not include any of the players who have already participated in week 1. So any Eagles, Cowboys, Chiefs, or Chargers are not included, because why do I need to rank them? Because I'm trying to give you guys as much information as possible to help you guys succeed this week. So again, these are the rankings. They are for a half PPR, so it's a little bit different. Again, you guys will see the Patreon ad kind of roll into the into the list here. If you guys want my all-encompassing rankings as of this morning, you can sign up via the Patreon. There's a link down in the description with all that available. Again, half PPR, full PPR, flex rankings, all of that included within the Patreon and more if you guys are interested. Thank you very much. Okay, continuing on, we had a question from Rico Baptiste. Rico, thank you very much, sir. Says, with Jacksonville, will Jacksonville be a top defense rest of season? I'd have a hard time thinking that that's going to be the case, but there's always a possibility. Look, every season, a new defense joins the top of the conversation. It wasn't just a couple years ago that Jacksonville was actually a very solid fantasy defense. But again, it's really going to be a matter of whether or not they have the personnel to do it, if they can stay healthy, and whether the new defensive coordinator is going to make a shift in terms of their potential. Because last year, they played the most man coverage amongst all teams in the league, and they were not good at that. That was a weakness point. If they want to continue to play cover one at an exclusive rate, just like they were last season, they are going to be burnt in many of situations, because that's what they sat in majority of last year, and it was a complete disaster to watch on a weekly basis. Now, for us in fantasy, we just fired up our wide receivers against Jacksonville every week. So for our sake, hopefully they'll continue to be a terrible defense, but we'll have to wait and see. All right, we had a question from Brandon Gilbert. Brandon, thank you very much. Says, drop Nick Chubb for Quinshon Judkins. I would say yes. Look, the way that I see it, I think Judkins, obviously, he's got the pedigree from what he was able to do in college. We know that, of course, going into this season, he was expected to be the immediate starter. Obviously, had the off-the-field complications. There is still a potential looming suspension, though. That we have to kind of keep in mind. If you're dropping Nick Chubb cannot be a player that is going to be contributing for you in the coming weeks here, because there's a high likelihood that Quinshon Judkins could still face NFL punishment from the league office, and he could serve anywhere between like a 2 to 3, 4 game suspension still, even without any sort of off the field, I don't know. It happens. We've seen it occur. There's a possibility. But for rest of season purposes, yes, I would rather have Judkins, because I do expect, whether it is Nick Chubb or one of the other running backs in his backfield, to continue to split touches, if not potentially see the return of a Joe Mixon, hopefully midway through the season here. As for your second question, Henderson or Pearsall in a full PPR? Let me go ahead and let's see what we have here in terms of my full PPR rankings. Let me see where I have Pearsall comparatively. As it currently stands, I have Pearsall ranked higher. So that's the direction I'm going to go in a full PPR this week. Ricky Pearsall is my suggestion. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that, man. Quentin Bernos sends in a question. Thank you very much, sir. Says, start one in a PPR format. Diggs, Chubb, Montgomery. Cool. Let me see where I have Diggs in comparison to Montgomery, because I think that's really just the question. I currently have Stephon Diggs ranked higher. So it would go Diggs number 1, Montgomery number 2, Nick Chubb number 3. That would be the order in which I would explore that in a full PPR scoring format. So I'd play Diggs there against the Raiders. Thank you. We had a question from Ivan Garcia. Ivan, thank you very much. Says, if Christian McCaffrey misses in a full PPR, do I play J.K. Dobbins or do I play Brian Robinson? You would play Brian Robinson. So really quickly, I also, that is a great point, and I would love to go ahead and speak on that just for a moment. In the event, you guys can see these rankings, right? In the event in which Christian McCaffrey was to potentially miss this week, okay? Because I won't be around here come 1 p.m. PST. So what I want to do here is I want to make sure that once this updates, it comes back. Yeah, so I'm going to bring it back on screen. Okay, so in the event in which Christian McCaffrey, who's my number 2, was to not play this week, I would put Brian Robinson probably even ahead of Kenneth Walker, if not behind him. That's where I would rank him. But again, there's a lot of situations in which you may not have Brian Robinson on roster, to which you'll need to look elsewhere for an alternative running back. So around like running back 15, 14, 15, 16, I think is a very, at least of the remaining backs, would be a comfortable position to kind of slot him in. And yes, I would prefer to play Brian Robinson in the absence of Christian McCaffrey rather than J.K. Dobbins. Thank you. Cole R. sends in a question. Cole, thank you very much, sir. Says, Harvey, Eckler, Myers in a full PPR. Go Bills. All right, let's see what we have here. Where are we at? In terms of Jacoby Myers, again, Jacoby's moved up relatively, a pretty good margin this week, mainly because, again, Christian Gonzalez, the number 1 cornerback of the New England Patriots, is not going to be playing this week. So in a full PPR, it really does give Jacoby Myers a clear advantage, I think, in comparison to the alternative options you just mentioned. Let me see where I have Harvey in comparison to him in a full PPR. Yeah, as of right now, I have Jacoby Myers ranked the highest of the bunch. So we'll go Harvey number 1. Sorry, no, excuse me. It would go Jacoby Myers number 1, Harvey 2, Eckler 3. That would be the order in which I would explore those options. So I would play Jacoby Myers out of the bunch in a full PPR. Thank you, Cole. Alex Songgrass, real estate, sends in a question. Alex, hope you're doing well. Long time no see. Of course, back for the new season. Let's see what you have here. It says in a full PPR, pick 2, Ridley, Henderson, Debo. Cool. Let's see where I have Debo in comparison to Henderson, and then we will explore that. Let's see. As it stands, I have Henderson and Ridley as my 2 highest ranked of the bunch. So that's what I would suggest. Play Calvin Ridley, also play Travion Henderson. Thank you. As for your next question, it says, Pat S. Shadow on... Yeah, I understand that Pat Surtain plays for the Denver Broncos. I'm purely aware of that. But they're not going to play exclusively man and just follow him the whole game. We're going to see a lot of Riley Moss on the opposite side of the field. They could move Calvin Ridley around and even play him in the slot position, to which he would play against one of the nickel cornerbacks, whether it is a safety coming down, whether it is an actual nickel package out there on the field. So I'm not 100% like completely scared of playing Calvin Ridley. I do think that he is a lesser play this week, considering the matchup on hand, considering the pass rush obviously putting a pretty good amount of pressure on the the dropbacks of Cam Ward, but I'm still very comfortable with Ridley this week. As for your next question, it says in a full PPR, Ted McMillan, Cortland Sutton, DJ Moore. Yeah, I think those are all fantastic options. I wouldn't say that there's a wrong answer. I don't think there is between the 3 of them. As it currently stands in a full PPR format, I have them all back to back to back, number 13, 14, and 15 at my wide receiver position, starting with McMillan 13, DJ Moore 14, and Cortland Sutton as my number 15. So really, whichever way you feel you want to go, you can approach with. They're all in the same tier of wide receiver, but I do have Ted McMillan number 1, DJ Moore 2, Cortland Sutton 3 in that order, based on my projections. Thank you. We continue with a question that comes in from Bob France. Bob, hope you're doing well. Thank you very much, sir. It says pick 1 in a full PPR. Kupp, Higgins, Mason. That's a really good question. I think it's going to be Cooper Kupp this week. Let me just check real quick. Cooper Kupp sits there. He's ahead of Jaden Higgins, and then he's additionally ahead of, where's Jordan Mason? He's also ahead of Jordan Mason. So Cooper Kupp will be my suggestion there. Yeah. So we'll go Kupp number 1. Where do I have Higgins number? No, I have Mason 2, then I have Higgins 3. So yeah, Kupp would be my suggestion there. Thank you very much, Bob. Appreciate it. Rogo sends in a question. Rogo, thank you very much. Hope you're doing well. Says, good morning. In a 12-team half PPR, I dropped Dylan Sampson for Trey Benson. Committee versus Workhorse. Number 2, correct. Targeting Keenan Allen, Dobbs, Douglas. I got Jaden Daniels, Ladd McConkey, Jacoby Myers. Okay. Gibbs, Swift, Kittle, Pacheco. Was that Chase McLaughlin? Denver's defense, Odunze, Shaheed, Bretton Strange, Mims. How am I doing? I mean, again, it's still early. We'll see. I think your wide receiver 2 really is the question as of right now, depending on what Myers and or Odunze can contribute to this team. Shaheed, Mims, I think that's going to be the X factor. As right now, Pacheco scares the absolute daylights out of me. We are looking to try to fill in or pick up a player that can fill into that flex in due time, because that is very scary. But as of right now, again, all things are solid. Just got to hope that that wide receiver 2 position not only is relevant for both Myers, but also Odunze, so that you can fill in to a flex position there while we are still figuring out what the heck is going on with the Kansas City Chiefs offense going forward. Thank you very much, Rogo. I greatly appreciate that, man. Okay, really quickly, just want to remind you guys, for those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Again, like I've mentioned already, but I will continue to mention, the rankings that you'll see that'll pop up on the right side of the screen and it'll continue to filter over the course of this entire live stream are updated as of this morning. So again, if you're looking for, a potential interpositional ranking in a half PPR, that is available. For those of you who have signed up via Patreon, rankings have been posted earlier this morning. For those of you who signed up within the Betr situation where you signed up using code Andrew, made that first time deposit, minimum of $10, and then of course made that first time play within a real cash play, minimum of $1, those rankings have been sent out. Be sure to check your spam folder. Thank you very much. Again, if you did not receive those emails within the Betr sign up, then you must have done something wrong within the steps there. Again, there's more information down below as to the 3 steps that is required within, well, actually, maybe it's not down below in this, it should be down below in this video. The 3 specific steps that are required to get those rankings from weeks 2 through 18 for the remainder of the season. Thank you. But if you complete those steps over the course of today's live stream, I will be able to potentially even send out an update there, because I do see someone who was able to do that in recent. Okay, so I'm going to send out this email real quickly. Thank you for your patience. One moment. Let me send out an email for these rankings to somebody. because I do see that one of you did in fact do this sign up. So I'm going to go ahead and week 1. Okay, let's see here. Where is... I'm trying to even figure out what the file name was this morning. What did I even call it? There it is. Beautiful. Okay, let's do that. Perfect. Send. Okay, so that email sent out. Good to go. Okay, continuing on. Sorry about that. We continue with, I believe it's Nick Walker, who says, salutations, Andrew. In a full PPR, do I start DK Metcalf or Ricky Pearsall as my wide receiver 2? I would prefer to play Ricky Pearsall. Again, the matchup on hand that we are expected to see for DK Metcalf is not a walk in the park. Also, I've mentioned to many of you this in the past, and I'll continue to reiterate it. Again, we haven't seen Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf even play in the preseason. I think there could be a potential in which him and DK Metcalf may take a couple weeks to actually click as a unit and find immediate success. But again, I think that the target opportunity will be there. He will still be relevant even with the Sauce Gardner coverage and all that kind of jazz. But if we go back to last season, weeks 1 through 4, it took a little bit of time between Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers to build that chemistry. I mean, the first 4 weeks were 6 catches for 60, 4 for 57, 5 for 33, and 5 for 41, right? So it wasn't the greatest weeks. But once we got to week 5, then we had 100-yard, 100-yard, 60-yard, 100-yard, 90-yard. Then it started to really turn up where Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers were on the same page. Now, hopefully, DK Metcalf can be on that same page week 1, but considering the current matchup, the lower scoring implications, and of course what Pearsall is going to be for that offense for the 49ers projected, Pearsall is the safer of the two in my mind. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it. Eddie P sends in a question, says Joe Flacco or Bryce Young in a 6-point per passing touchdown league. I could justify the idea of playing Joe Flacco there, but I won't. As of right now, I would rather play Bryce Young. The rushing upside that he provides on top of what I'm expecting to be a higher scoring game between these two teams, I do expect Bryce Young to be the more fantasy relevant piece. And I'm not too concerned about Bryce Young throwing 3 picks. While on the opposite end, I could very easily see Joe Flacco accomplish that without a doubt in my mind this week. Mike sends in a question. Mike Whelan says, Dylan Sampson or JCM in a full PPR? Rather play Dylan Sampson there. Absolutely. Listen, JCM is purely a kind of wait and see kind of prospect as of right now. In no situation do we have the indication of, hey, it's going to be JCM number 1, Eckler 2, Rodriguez 3 in terms of the pecking order of opportunities. We don't know, right? We know that Eckler is the veteran there, and he is probably going to be the most fantasy relevant this week, as he has obviously been, when healthy, incredibly relevant for fantasy purpose, even going back to last season in the absence of Brian Robinson, averaging over 13 fantasy points per game. But in the case of JCM this week, I would rather just leave him on my bench. I'd rather play a Dylan Sampson because I know he's going to be implicated within the mix. And also, if the Cleveland Browns are most likely throwing the ball for majority of the game, we know that Joe Flacco really does like to target his running backs over the course of the years here. Thank you. We had a question that came in from, I believe, let's see here. It was Babs. Babs says the following. Thank you very much, Babs. Says in a half PPR, trade Connor/Godwin for Lamar and Pacheco. I have Kenneth Walker, Christian McCaffrey, and A.J. Brown, and Ted McMillan. Okay, so here is my only question to you. If Christian McCaffrey was to miss a significant volume of time, would you miss losing Connor? To my kind of consideration of this, I would say you probably would, unless you had Brian Robinson Jr. on roster. So it may not be in your best interest as of right now to be shipping away a player like Connor when we're still trying to determine whether or not Christian McCaffrey is going to be able to play for you in the coming weeks here. So as of right now, I probably just hold. In the event in which we knew that McCaffrey had no issue, no injury, then at that point we were making that trade, right, to get that advantage at quarterback. But unfortunately, considering the current circumstance, I think you hold. Thank you, Babs. Donovan Langley sends in a question, says in a full PPR super flex format with additional flex spot as well, in the extra flex spot, do I play Pollard or Egbuka? Okay, let me see where I have Pollard comparatively to Egbuka in a full PPR. Egbuka. As it stands, I do have Okay, it's funny enough that you asked this question. I have Igbuka as my number 39 overall of the remaining players, and Tony Pollard is my number 40. They are back-to-back. They are in the same tier, but I have Igbuka one physical spot ahead of him as of right now. So if I was to make the suggestion, I would tell you to play Igbuka this week. But if you wanted to play Pollard, considering they're back-to-back in my rankings in the flex full PPR, I don't mind that idea. As for your next question, it says Josh Allen and Jaden Daniels are my quarterbacks. Then you are in a pretty good spot to win this week there, Donovan. Good investments there, my man. All right, let's see here. We had a question from Demetrios. Thank you very much, sir. It says, rate my team. My quarterbacks, consist of Prescott and Goff. Okay. So obviously we need to do some, hopefully, we got to play some matchups here in the future because Prescott obviously disappointed in week 1, but I think he will be significantly better. I think that offense was actually pretty solid in comparison to what I anticipated to potentially see on Thursday in the matchup. So I think Prescott will be better going forward for sure, though. As for the rest of your team, Achane, Chase Brown, love the combo. Stevenson, Benson. Okay, so we don't have really much RB depth, which scares me. We have Lamb, we have Hill, Flowers, Pickens, Diggs. Okay, solid wide receiver group. We have Njoku and Ingram, fantastic. Currently playing the Bengals, what does it say? Defense is Bengals, kicker is Fairbairn. Okay. Yeah, as of right now, the Bengals defense for me this week is my number 13. The only thing about the Bengals defense, and I have them in the same tier as the Seahawks, who are my number 12 defense. The only thing about the Bengals defense is that I don't know if they can actually sustain what Flacco is providing. Like, there's a chance in which they can get 3 picks, but there's also a chance that they can give up 25 points, which would evaporate the 10 points that we start with and really makes it difficult to kind of trust them. But hey, fingers crossed that the Bengals defense comes through today because I got a lot of shares of Joe Burrow today going out. So as of right now, lineup looks great. If I was to potentially rate your team as a whole, again, quarterback is your biggest apparent weakness along with running back depth. Hopefully for your sake, Stevenson has a little bit of a greater role in that offense to where once you get the bye weeks joining with Achane and potentially, Chase Brown missing when those weeks do come, hopefully Stevenson will still be relevant by that time. Otherwise, we're going to have to hit the waiver wire, if not utilize players within that tight end position or wide receiver position to make some proactive trades in the coming weeks here to try to buy low on some players there, Demetrios. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Torod Taylor sends in a question. Says, need 3 wide receivers in a PPR format. We have Devontae Adams, Igbuka, Garrett Wilson, and Jalen Waddle. Great. I think it's very easy in my mind. Garrett Wilson's the odd man out. I would rather play the 3 other wide receivers, which is Devontae Adams, Emeka Igbuka, and Jalen Waddle. I'm sitting Garrett Wilson this week. Thank you. Scott Green sends in a question. Thank you, Scott. Says in a full PPR, Chubb or Leggett? Great question. Let me check where I have Leggett comparatively. As it currently stands, Xavier Leggett is 4 spots ahead of Nick Chubb in a full PPR. So I would play Xavier Leggett there this week. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it, Scott. Babs had a follow-up. Said, RJ Harvey or Matthew Golden? Okay, so I did have Matthew Golden ranked a little bit higher earlier this week under the consideration or the possibility of Jayden Reed missing. So Jayden Reed over the course of the last couple days since he missed that Wednesday practice has actually gotten himself limited participation both Thursday and Friday, which is a good sign for his availability this week. So I did lower the potential rank of Golden effectively because of that. In the event in which, actually, let me just see even my ranking. Maybe I even have Golden ahead of him already. Where's Harvey? Yeah, even right now, I still have Matthew Golden ahead of him. So in a full PPR, I'm going Matthew Golden there. If it was a half, we'd have a different conversation to be had. But even with Jayden Reed playing, I'm still playing Golden. If at one point we get later this afternoon, the indication that we don't have Jayden Reed playing, then at that point, I'm even more convinced to play Golden in that circumstance. But luckily, both of these games are in the afternoon. So by the time we get to about noon PST, you'll have an indication on Jayden Reed's status. And at that point, you can make the clear decision. But as of right now, I think whichever way this goes, I'm going Matthew Golden this week. Thank you. Jordan F. sends in a question. Says, Golden or Metcalf in the flex? Great question. Let's see where I have. Says, worried about Sauce Gardner shadowing DK. Sauce Gardner doesn't shadow. He just plays on one side of the field. Again, a lot of these cornerbacks don't really exclusively shadow receivers. Now, if Sauce Gardner is up for the task on hand, then so be it. I think DK Metcalf is going to be utilized around the entire formation. They're going to have him in pre-snap motion. They're going to have him sit in the slot a little bit. They're going to utilize him because really he is the only receiving option that they can consistently go to. Let me see where I have Golden comparatively to Metcalf. As it currently stands, Yeah, I have Metcalf ahead of him in a full and or half PPR. So whichever way you want to go about it, I could justify the idea of playing Golden in the absence of a Jaden Reed, but as of right now, I'm suggesting that you play Metcalf this week. Thank you. JK sends in a question. Says T-Mac, as in Tedoroa McMillan, or JSN. Already started Worthy, can't mess up. Listen, that Worthy situation is yes, it's unfortunate, but you guys got to remember, losing in week 1 of fantasy football is not the end all be all. I hope you guys understand this. Please listen to this carefully, okay? There have been multiple occasions in which you can, not multiple occasions, I mean, I have personally lived in which I have played in leagues in which I've started 1 and 3 and still won the league. Because all it really matters is that you make the playoffs. Winning week 1 is irrelevant. I'm trying to make the playoffs. I want to get my dogs in the fight. So just got to aim for the playoffs. That's it. First round bye, all that kind of BS. Yeah, sure, that's great. Those are fantastic, but you just got to be in sequence. You got to be healthy, and you got to make the playoffs, and that's all that matters. Now, as for in regards to your question, in the event in which we're talking a full PPR, I'm playing JSN. If we're talking about a half PPR, I'm playing Tet McMillan. Thank you. Go Easy. 254 sends in a question. Thank you very much. Go. This is in a half PPR, 1 running back, 1 flex. We have Henderson, Pollard, Golden, Egbuka. Great. Let me see in a half PPR where we have. Okay, Pollard, I think, absolutely plays a running back. Yeah. Pollard's going to play. Now, I need to just go ahead and reference where, yeah, Egbuka's my flex there. So I'm playing Pollard and Egbuka for you this week. That's my suggestion. So the order in which I would rank these players, for those of you guys who are wondering, Pollard number 1, Egbuka 2, Henderson 3, Golden 4. Thank you, go. All right, Chief sends in a question. It says, PPR, if Christian McCaffrey is out, do I flex Brian Robinson or do I flex Pearsall? In a PPR, that's a really good question. Let me see real quick here. I need to actually go to my full PPR rankings, and then let's see. In the event in which Christian McCaffrey was not to play, I'd play Brian Robinson there. Yeah, that's the way that I would go about it. I'm very comfortable with the idea of throwing Brian Robinson in there because we know that Shanahan has just been at least a play caller that just wants one back. That's it. He demonstrated that last year with Jordan Mason. Until Jordan Mason got hurt, that's the only time that Isaac Guerrero was reintroduced into the offense. So as of right now, I would play Brian Robinson in the event in which we have Christian McCaffrey out this week. But again, to be determined. Thank you. We had a question that was sent in from Cole R as a follow-up. Says, just wanted to say thank you for the work that you put in for us yearly. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Listen, as long as you guys continue to show support in this regard, in terms of just viewing, clicking the like button, which you guys do in terms of sending in supers, supporting the Patreon, signing up using code Andrew with the, with the better signups. All that is support in my direction, and obviously all I want to do is potentially just provide the best advice that I can every single week. I try my best. I work many of hours to accomplish that, so thank you for the kind words. I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing to try to help you guys win championships this year. Thank you. Reese Thomas sends in a question, says, RJ Harvey or Shakir? I think it really depends on format, guys. Again, a reminder, if you guys are going to send in questions, please do me a favor and include your scoring format. It is incredibly helpful to know preemptively what your league is structured as. If we're talking about a full PPR, I'm probably playing Shakir there. Let me see where I have them. Khalil Shakir is higher in a full PPR. In the event in which it's a half PPR, just give me Harvey at that point. Thank you. We move on to a question that comes in from Logart. Logart, thank you very much. Says, Andrew, glad to see you, bro. Thank you very much. Says, happy 25 season. We made it. 25 season. You've been playing fantasy for that long, huh? Says, let's win it. Let's go. So they got a flex in a full PPR. Diggs, Harvey, Debo, or Eckler. Great. Of these available, let's see where I have Diggs comparatively to the bunch in a full PPR. So Diggs is 1 spot ahead of Eckler, but they are both 2 spots behind Debo, and they are still ahead of Harvey. So Debo is actually my suggestion out of the group. It would go Debo 1, Diggs 2, Eckler 3, Harvey 4, full PPR. Thank you. Timo sends in a question. Says, does heavy rain affect your ranking for Drake May? It depends. Let me check. Let's see what it looks like here. Because it just, okay, yeah, look, as I'm looking at it right now, it's not, okay, so when you say heavy rain, I think we have 2 different definitions of what heavy rain will consist of. It's not something that is, in my mind, going to be like, oh, it's a complete game changer to where I'm not playing Drake May. If anything, I think it actually may help him because he might want to scramble a little bit more. This being said, for those of you who are familiar with the channel, unless the rain is one of the worst monsoons of all time. If you guys remember a couple years ago, we're talking about the Bears versus the 49ers in Chicago. We're talking about even some of the really tough games in which we have seen cold weather in November, December. For example, the Bills at New England at the Bills in the Ice Dome game. Even last season, we remember the Snow Globe game between Russell Wilson and taking on Jameis Winston on that Thursday night game. Yeah, unless we have weather like that, where it's either difficult to see, difficult to move, or outright just difficult to breathe, I'm playing our starters. We're firing them up. No problem about it. So yes, I'm playing Drake May over McCarthy to answer your question, Timo. Thank you. Easy E sends in a question. Says I traded Paco for Tracy. I don't know who Paco is. Is that Pacheco? Is that what you mean? Who the heck is Paco? Drop Coleman for Quentin Johnston. Keon Coleman. I mean, again, let's wait and let's see how this week progresses. Let's see what Keon Coleman's opportunity share looks like. He may have a very similar stat line to Quentin Johnston when it's all said and done. So let's just kind of wait. Let's see. And then on Tuesday, we can reevaluate that. But trading Pacheco for Tracy is great. Fantastic, in fact, because I had Tracy already ranked higher in the preseason rankings. All right, Mighty sends in a question. It says PPR flex, Travion Henderson or Egbuka. I would rather play Egbuka there. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Mighty. Oni sends in a question. Oni, hope you're doing well. Says, I have Christian McCaffrey, Chase Brown, Mason, Eckler, Brian Robinson Jr., and Spears in the IR. Should I drop one to pick up Judkins off of the waivers? You know, here's the issue that you're... Okay, so you would theoretically have to drop Jordan Mason or Eckler, to which if I look at both of those current positions, I would rather drop Mason at this current moment, because there's a possibility where Eckler just has such a opportunity kind of volume in that backfield until we get an established RB1 there, to where I think at that point, I'm probably just taking Judkins over Eckler or Mason. Go whichever way you want, but as of right now, I probably just dump Mason there, even though, again, I understand associated with a pretty solid offense, but he requires Aaron Jones to miss a significant volume of time for him to be more relevant than he currently is. In comparison to Eckler, who as of right now, regardless of what happens in that backfield, he is going to be relevant every single week. So yeah, that's probably the direction I go in. Also, start a Dunze or Sutton today. I would rather play Cortland Sutton this weekend. Thank you. Chase sends in a question, says in a half PPR and point per first down league, pick 2 flex options, Swift, Harvey, Hunter, and Tracy. Great question. I'm playing both Tracy and Swift in a half PPR. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Night Jazz Most sends in a question. It says, start 2, flex 1. Walker, Harvey, Achane, Golden, Downs. Okay, Kenneth Walker has to play. Devon Achane has to play. Now, as for the available rest of those options, I think it depends on scoring format, to which I would say I'm probably just rolling with Golden there, just to find like the healthy median in between. Let's see where I have Golden comparatively to these other alternatives. Yeah, I'm going Golden there in the flex. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. The Murrison family sends in a question. Thank you very much. Says, I like Egbuka over Garrett Wilson, but please convince Method. Is that what you meant? Because it says Meth X. I don't know what Meth X is. Convince me, thanks. I was like, wait a minute. What in the heck is that? I was like, what are we talking about? Okay, anyway. Convincing you, it shouldn't be difficult. Again, when we talk about the potential matchup on hand, when we have Egbuka taking on Atlanta, we know that's going to be a higher scoring game. The current total for that game is implicated at 47.5. We have no, Jalen McMillan. We have no Chris Godwin. So there's already a high volume of opportunity share for Egbuka within the matchup. On top of the fact that he's taking on a nickel cornerback that is a rookie, like I talked about on Tuesday's wide receiver rankings video. When you have a rookie versus rookie matchup, I'm going to take the first round talent in the form of Egbuka, who, again, we've heard many things about in regards to touting his talent, his pro readiness. Now, when we talk about Garrett Wilson, it's purely just a matter of how many times the Jets are going to throw the ball today. And when you're taking on, the plethora of cornerbacks we have there with Ramsey, Slay, and Porter Jr., it's a tough matchup. So I'm just going to lean towards the lighter matchup against the less experienced cornerback in a game in which is expected to be one of the higher scoring ones in the week. Thank you. Alex Songrass sends in a follow-up. Says, in a standard scoring league, do I play Ted McMillan, Cortland Sutton, or DJ Moore? Standard scoring, 0 points per reception. It's either Ted McMillan or Sutton. As of right now, I probably go, you know what? That's a tough one because I think Cortland Sutton, there can be an argument made just because we know what he's capable of, that he should be the starter there in a standard league where we're really hoping for the yardage touchdown play. I'm going to play Ted McMillan there, but I think it's probably smarter to just play Sutton. So if I was going to make your suggestion, I would say, hey, I'm going McMillan. You want to follow, go for it. Otherwise, if you want to play just the game of which offense is going to potentially score more touchdowns and who's the number one wide receiver in that, I mean, they're all number ones. I mean, really, I think you can go either way. I'm going to have them back-to-back ranked regardless if it's a standard league, but I'm going Ted. Thank you. Also, Fairbairn, a good play this week. Yeah, indoors in LA. The offense for the Texans should sputter a little bit there because of the defensive efforts of that Rams defense. So, yeah, I think Fairbairn's a solid play going into this week. It says Fairbairn, a good play with wide receiver and running back injuries. Yeah, it's still fine. Even with Christian Kirk missing, I expect that offense to still be able to move the ball enough to where they're getting, Fairbairn into 50-yard field goal range. And if you guys know, Fairbairn over the course of the last couple seasons for fantasy purposes has been one of the best kickers in terms of fantasy points per game on average. Now, he's averaging typically around 10-plus points per game if you're playing in a league where you get 5 points per 50-yard field goal. And that's primarily because, he has the range. Last season, he made 13 of his 16 50-yard attempts. He didn't have a single... look, amongst all of the kicking opportunities he had more 50-yard attempts than he did 40-yard, 30-yard, 20-yard, etc. So, as of right now, expect for a lot of potential 5-point tick-ups over the course of this the upcoming matchup here. Thank you. Jonathan McMaster sends in a question. Jonathan, hope you're doing well. Long time no see. Let's see what you have to ask here. Says, what's up, brother? We're back. Absolutely. Says, no question for me, but just excited to be back going into a great season. You helped me win a championship last year. Let's get back. Yeah, let's go back to back, baby. Thank you very much, Jonathan. I appreciate that. Let's see. We go on to the next question. Before I do, again, I want to remind you guys, for those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome. There's about 1,000 of you in here. Welcome. First and foremost, for those of you who are new to the channel and have not been around here for the Sunday morning rankings, the rankings that you can see to the right side of the screen are updated as of this morning. They do not include any of the players that have already participated in games this week. So there's no Eagles, Cowboys, Chiefs, or Chargers. These are the remaining players at a top 36 capacity for running back, and in a couple seconds here, wide receiver will show up. We also have quarterback, tight end, kicker, and defensive rankings. This is the way that I would go about it in a half PPR scoring format. Again, if you guys want my all-encompassing rankings, you can check out the Patreon. Again, there's a link down in the description. All the information is there down below. And of course, filters on screen. But I just want to present rankings so that, of course, we can set you up for success. As again, there's a lot of you, one of me, and I'm sure you're all asking questions, but I can't answer everybody's question. But if you guys are looking for those rankings, you can find it via the Patreon already posted there. Or, of course, with the Betr sign up like I've talked about. If you want to take advantage of that for future weeks, this is the way that which you would go about it, in which you are signing up using code Andrew, making that first time deposit minimum of 10, and then of course making that first time play minimum of 1 within a real cash play. So one of the $10 you deposit has to be played, and then you'll be on that email list to be sent out every single Sunday morning for the remainder of the season with all encompassing rankings. Thank you. Okay, the S-Box sends out a question. It says, in a full PPR one quarterback league, I'm not sure how I feel about my team. What do you think about Nix, Stroud, Genty, Chase Brown, Kamara, Eckler, Mixon? I really like the idea. Just the trio of Genty, Chase Brown, and Kamara in a full PPR that's diabolical business, brother. That's some good, potential running backs there. You have Collins, Flowers, Judy, Reed, Leggett, Kittle, Kincaid. Yeah, look, I think the weakness of your team as it currently stands is wide receiver 2. Flowers, Judy need to be able to step up and really contribute at a higher capacity. For once they do, quarterback is solid with Nix. You have 3 running backs, so your 2 running backs and your flex solid every single week henceforth. And you have George Kittle at tight end. You have Collins as your wide receiver 1. Wide receiver 2 on paper as it currently stands is your greatest weakness. But I think Flowers and Judy, based on matchups, based on the quarterback play, should be able to specifically elevate those players. Again, Flowers last season prior to injury was top 24 on a per game average in a full PPR. So in the event in which, again, he can stay healthy, Judy even finishes wide receiver 12 in a full PPR. So if Joe Flacco's any relevant, he should still be a solid wide receiver 2. So overall, I'm excited about the team. mainly because I see those running backs, I see the tight end, I see Nico Collins, and if everybody stays healthy, we're in a good spot there. Stayer sends in a question. Thank you very much, Stayer. I appreciate that, my man. Says, love the show. Full PPR, Loveland or Strange? Ooh, interesting question. Let me see where I have Brett and Strange comparatively in a full PPR. As it stands, I have Colson Loveland as my number 15. I have Brett and Strange as my number 19. Okay, so here's the thing about Brett and Strange. I expect the Jaguars to score a lot. He's got to score a touchdown outright. Outright without a doubt in my mind. Because I do expect Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter to be the number 1-2 combo. And there's a possibility in which the number 3 target getter in this offense could even be Etienne or Diami Brown before it even is Brett and Strange. Mainly because of what we have seen with Liam Cohen and his offense back in 2024 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There were a lot of games in which K. Dotton just was getting like 4 or 5 targets a game. You know, unless you're making a huge play with one of those 4 targets, there's a higher likelihood in which you're not going to be utilized in comparison to where we know the red zone utilization of what a Bears offense is going to look like now that we have Ben Johnson as our OC, considering the Lions with Ben Johnson have been top 3 in each of the last 3 seasons in terms of red zone tight end touchdowns, having scored a total of, 12, 11, that's 23 plus 9, 32 receiving, or 31 or 32 receiving touchdowns in the red zone from the tight end position over the course of the last 3 years, while Ben Johnson was the OC for the Lions. So I would hope that Loveland has a little bit extra edge in terms of touchdown upside within the week. Thank you. Fernando Mendez sends in a question. Fernando, I don't see anything attached to it. Again, I'm going to remind you guys, if you guys are going to send in a question, make sure you include the question within the super chat. Additionally, also include your scoring from it. That'd be greatly appreciated. Fernando, I'm going to see if I can find your question right now just to kind of help you out here. Yeah, so this is what I anticipated to potentially happen, and unfortunately it is happening. You sent in the question a little bit a while ago, and it's not in the live chat. So if you can do me a favor and just retype it, that'd be greatly appreciated. But again, in the future, please do attach that to the super. Thank you. Okay, Rakesh, 0. I'm going to write your name down, Fernando, so I don't forget it. Fernando Mendez. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Rakesh, 0523 sends in a question. It says, Pollard, DK, Pearsall, Ingram, Warren for the flex half PPR. Out of the group in a half PPR, I am playing Tony Pollard. If Warren is Jalen Warren, I could justify the potential of playing him, but between the two, I would much rather play Tony Pollard this week. Thank you. Hernan Ramos sends in a question. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. It says, full PPR, Ted McMillan or DJ Moore? In a full PPR, I have McMillan as my number 13, DJ Moore as my number 14. So I would still play McMillan there, but they are both back-to-back in my rankings. They are both tier 4 wide receivers this week of the remaining. I could justify playing DJ Moore there. I just prefer Tet. Bryce Lawson sends in a question. Bryce, thank you very much, sir. Says, I need a flex in a full PPR. Chubb, Olave, Diggs. Great. Of those available, I believe I have Olave ranked the highest in a full PPR. Let me confirm. I have Olave ranked the highest. So Olave would be my number 1. Diggs would be my number 2. And Chubb would be my number 3. Thank you. Paul sends in a question. Thank you very much. Paul Navi says, hey, Andrew. Hope all is well, my man. Thank you very much. It is. Thank you. I mean, look, we're only 2 hours and 7 minutes away from the kickoff of Week 1 Sunday. So, again, like I've mentioned before, this is pretty much my Christmas morning. Should be a pretty fun day today, hopefully. Says, in a full PPR double flex league, I need to fill my spot. Stuck between Diggs, Bateman, or Travis Etienne. Great. I mean, at this point, you got good options. I think it's either between Diggs or Etienne in a full PPR double flex league. Let me see where I have Etienne comparatively. So as it currently stands, I have Stephon Diggs 3 spots ahead of Travis Etienne. Diggs is my number 65 in the flex, full PPR. Etienne's my number 68. They're both in the same tier, so I could justify playing one over the other, but I currently would suggest playing Diggs over Etienne. That would be the number 1-2 combo in comparison. What was your final comment? It says, also lost Worthy on Friday. Any sleeper waiver wire picks I should grab? That episode will come out tomorrow. Again, guys, remember, Monday is the waiver wire episode. Tuesday, running back. Wednesday, wide receiver. Thursday is quarterback, tight end. Friday, hidden gems. Saturday, Sundays are live streams. And of course, I mean, obviously, I live stream Monday through Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. So outside of that, we'll talk about that tomorrow. Thank you, Paul. Okay, Mike sent in a question. Mike had the same deal where he didn't attach anything to the super. So hopefully I can... Oh, there it is. I see it, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. Mike Polymeni says, Baker or Nix? I personally would rather play Baker. I think from what he was able to contribute last season against that Atlanta defense, very familiar with it, having thrown 3 touchdowns in each of the last 2 games against them. Probably the better play of the two, mainly because, again, I don't expect them to be able to take a lead and not have a fighting, chance to continue to score in comparison to the Denver Broncos, who may just take an early lead and then the Titans just put up no fight because of that defensive efforts of the Broncos. So as of right now, I'm playing Baker there. Thank you. Carlos Z sends in a question, says, good morning, Andrew. In a half PPR, who makes more sense, Pearsall or Trevion Henderson in the flex? As of right now, I have Ricky Pearsall as my 44. I have Trevion Henderson as my 47. They are ranked between, there's only 2 players separating them. They are both in the tier 7 of the flex. I could justify playing one over the other. Who makes more sense? I think that there could be a conversation and there could be a justification in terms of waiting to see on both of them, right? Because we don't know yet. Pearsall has shown, glimpses late last season, week 17, 18, of being relevant. Henderson has yet to show what he can accomplish in the league. Obviously, in the preseason, looked great. So did Pearsall. But in terms of what the combination of opportunity share for a Trevion Henderson is going to be in regards to the running opportunities with Ramondre Stevenson, how many snaps he's going to play, that is to be determined. In regards to the potential what Pearsall provides, in comparison to which you have threats like Kittle, Jawan Jennings, Christian McCaffrey potentially today, there's an argument to play either of the two. As of right now, I have projections sitting with Ricky Pearsall scoring more this week. Now, again, it doesn't have to absolutely go that way, but if you wanted to, I don't mind the idea of playing Henderson. Again, you drafted these players to start them. Really just go with what your heart tells you. Otherwise, I'm telling you to play Pearsall there. Thank you. Flawless sends in a question. Says, PPR, Hunter, Golden, or boring Myers? Myers is not really boring, I would say. But if I was going to make a suggestion there in a full PPR, it's going to be Travis Hunter, I believe. Let me check. Yeah, I have Travis Hunter ranked the highest of the bunch. Thank you very much, Flawless. Appreciate it. Okay. Kaprowski sends in a question. Kaprowski says, start 2. Buka? That's what we're going to go with. It's not Puka, but it's Buka. I like that. Hunter or Kenneth Walker? If we're starting 2 of the 3, I'm playing Kenneth Walker and I'm playing Emeka Egbuka. Thank you very much. Okay, really quickly, let me go and see if I can find Fernando's question from earlier. Fernando. There it is. Fernando Mendez. Thank you very much, sir, for typing that in. This is in a full PPR. I dropped Kincaid for Kraft. Yeah, sounds good to me. And Rashad White for Ollie. Yeah, I like that as well. I have Josh Allen as my quarterback. That matters. And I don't think that matters. I think Kraft is going to have a better season rest of the way. I think Kincaid certainly could live up to the expectation of being a top 12 option under the assumption that his target share opportunity increases from last year. If we can see him get 6 to 7 targets per game, and his catch rate increase from whatever it was last year, 58%, to somewhere around 78%, I think Kincaid could very easily finish in the top 12. It's just really going to be the difference of whether or not he scores touchdowns this year, because I do expect Kraft opportunity share to also increase effectively. I have no problem with having Kraft and Loveland as my 1-2, and then, of course, dropping Rashad White in order to pick up Ollie Gordon. I think that's a great move for you. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. All right, continuing on. After those questions, we move on to Bryson, who sends in a question. Thank you very much, Bryson. Says, in a full PPR 12-team format, wide receiver 1 and 2 consist of Hill and DJ Moore or McMillan or Marvin Harrison. Okay. As of right now, again, like I've mentioned before, but I will continue to let you all know, I have McMillan at 13 and DJ Moore at 14 in a full PPR. So I have them ranked back-to-back, but I do prefer McMillan by 1 position. Also previously mentioned, or Flex, also previously mentioned, or Harvey Pearsall. Yeah, so if I was in your position going into this week, Bryson, I would play Tyreek Hill as wide receiver 1, McMillan as wide receiver 2, and DJ Moore in the flex. That's what I would approach with. It says Hill was acquired via a Stroud, Hollywood Brown, Mason. Thoughts? Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Again, we don't know what Hollywood Brown's value is going to be going forward, but I know that Tyreek Hill is going to be great. So I think that's a great trade there. Thank you. Cinco 2X sends in a question. Cinco, hope you're doing well. Says Pearsall or Metcalf? I'd rather play Pearsall there in a PPR. Thank you, sir. Ken sends in a question. Says, happy first Sunday for fantasy. Let's go. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Ken. Appreciate that, my man. Gabriel Catalan sends in a question. Says, Travis Hunter, Cooper Kupp, Michael Pittman Jr., or Brian Robinson Jr. in the flex. Okay, so considering the players that you mentioned, Travis Hunter and Michael Pittman Jr. both play in the morning window. So once 2 hours from now, comes to comes to reality, you're going to have to probably play Travis Hunter there, because we're not going to be able to wait till the afternoon to see whether or not Christian McCaffrey plays to play Brian Robinson. So if I was in your position, I'm just playing Travis Hunter right now because I think he's going to be fantastic against that Carolina defense. And in a PPR, he's a great play. So in my opinion, I think the best plan of action as of right now is to just play Hunter rather than wait for the potential of playing Brian Robinson, who could theoretically be a better play in the event in which McCaffrey misses, but I don't think we have the opportunity. I'd rather play Hunter now than the possibility of Robinson to pivot to Kupp. I don't really want to play Kupp in comparison to Hunter. Thank you. Hector Hernandez sends in a question. Thank you, Hector. Appreciate it. It says, should I play Pearsall or Judy? Great question. Let me see where I have Judy. Is it half PPR? I said, yeah. As it currently stands, I'm not even joking. I have Pearsall and Judy ranked back-to-back at wide receiver. Pearsall, as in terms of my wide receiver rankings of the remaining players, sits at 20, and Judy's my number 21. They're both tier 6 wide receivers going into the week with the remaining players. I could justify playing one over the other. I prefer Pearsall. If you wanted to play Judy, I got no problem with that, Hector. Thank you. Deering Outdoors says PPR, rank Kenneth Walker, Brian Robinson, and Cortland Sutton if Christian McCaffrey is out. Fantastic question. In a PPR, let me see here. Let me change my ranking on screen. Let's see. Sutton. Okay. So in the event in which Christian McCaffrey is out, I would still play Kenneth Walker and Cortland Sutton ahead of Brian Robinson in a PPR scoring format. I would still play both of them ahead of B-Rob. Thank you. Tan Fam sends in a question. It says, drop Stroud for Young, Trevor Lawrence, or Justin Fields to start. Yes, I would rather play Trevor Lawrence this week. And quite frankly, I'd probably rather play him rest of season because of the weapons that surround Trevor Lawrence and the rushing upside that he provides. You got to remember, prior to the most recent season where he, of course, missed a significant volume of time, he has proven that he can be a top 12 quarterback, having done that twice in his career already for fantasy purposes on a full season basis. So when you already have that, with the addition to the weapons that they've added to this offense, to a new offensive coordinator with a better offensive line healthy, the weapons around him healthy in comparison to what Stroud's dealing with, Trevor Lawrence is not only the play this week, but also the guy that I want to have on roster going forward. Okay, we had a question that came in from Christian that nothing was attached to it, but hopefully I can find your question. You got quite the interesting last name, but I'm not going to even try to pronounce it. Hopefully you did type your question in the live chat and I can find it, but in the future, please do me a favor and attach your question to your super. Because as of right now, when I look into the live chat, it's not there's nothing there. You must have sent it in a while ago. I'm going to need you to retype that in there for me, my man. Thank you. Okay, until then, we had a question that came in from Stayer as a follow-up. It says, PPR, Loveland or Strange? Yeah, I'm going to go with Loveland there. Thank you very much, Stayer. Appreciate it. John sends in a question. It says, full PPR, JCM, Dobbs, or Ford? I'd rather play Jerome Ford out of those three available options there. Jerome Ford's my suggestion. Thank you. Okay, Christian, I see your question. Never mind. So you sent in another super with something attached to it. I see it. Thank you very much. Says any 0.7 PPR. Yeah, PPR doesn't matter. But if we're talking about Baker Mayfield versus Bo Nix, again, quick reminder for those of you who are asking questions, the rankings right here are updated as of this morning. So if you have a question in regards to my running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks, kickers, defenses, in the direction in which I would approach them, the rankings on screen should suffice. So in this situation, I would rather play Baker Mayfield over Bo Nix going into this week. Thank you. Appreciate it, Christian. Eduardo M sends in a question. Thank you, Eduardo. Appreciate that. Says, flex Njoku, Mason, Pearsall, or Jennings. Honestly, I think I'm going to play Njoku there. Give me a second. Let me just confirm. David Njoku. Yeah, David Njoku is my highest ranked of the bunch in a full PPR format. Even in a half PPR, he's going to be the highest ranked. Thank you. Also, Cardinals or Rams defense. I would rather play the Cardinals defense this week. Again, when you're playing against Spencer Rattler, a quarterback who has not won a single game in his career as a starting quarterback, I think there's a really good chance that the Arizona Cardinals go in there with an improved defense, to say the very least, with all of the potential weapons that they have added to the mix. Specifically, when we're talking about the weapons that they've added, not only have they added secondary help, which certainly the Arizona Cardinals have needed, but they've also added an element to where, for fantasy purposes, makes them relevant, which is the pass rush and the sacks that they're going to be able to accumulate. Especially when we know that Trevor Penning, one of the starting offensive linemen for the New Orleans Saints, is out this week. It kind of gives us even more credence to fire up that Arizona Cardinals defense, in which once the Arizona Cardinals are up in the game, they're sending the dogs. They're trying to get after it in regards to the pass rush. We have guys like Calais Campbell added this offseason. Dalvin Tomlinson. Josh Sweat, if I'm not mistaken. Josh Sweat, outside linebacker, defensive end, added to the lineup. There's been a lot of changes within the personnel, but the pass rush is going to be something of, of a difference maker when it's all said and done for the Arizona Cardinals this season. Thank you. So Njoku and the Cardinals are my suggestion there, Eduardo. Thank you. Kenneth Williams sends in a question. Kenneth, hope you're doing well. Long time no see. Says, good morning, Andrew. Flex, Waddle or Travion Henderson PPR? I'm going to play Waddle there. Again, considering we have an inactive Darren Waller, it opens up so much opportunity share for Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane, and Jalen Waddle within the receiving category. So as of right now, Jalen Waddle, in my opinion, is the preferred play of the two against that Colts secondary. Again, if Darren Waller, if Jonnu Smith was still on the team, it would be a different conversation. But as it currently stands, when there's potentially 7 to 8 available targets now up for grabs in a game in which, again, we are expecting the Colts to probably maintain this lead, it'll force Tua Tagovailoa, who, by the way, week 1, Tua Tagovailoa undefeated in his career, 4-0. Just putting it out there. I like Jalen Waddle this week. Okay, Leap Link sends in a question. Says 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex in a full PPR. We have the following available: JT, Connor, Kenneth Walker, Emeka Egbuka, Ted McMillan, and DJ Moore. Cool. So of your available options here in a full PPR scoring format, my 2 running backs are going to be Jonathan Taylor and James Conner. Clear and away, easy plays. The wide receiver I'm suggesting is playing Ted McMillan. In a full PPR scoring format between DJ Moore and Kenneth Walker, I currently have DJ Moore ranked higher in a full PPR. So the way in which I would go about it would be JT, Connor, Tet, and DJ Moore. That's the way in which I have it currently projected out. It makes me feel sick to my stomach having to play DJ Moore over Kenneth Walker, though. I will tell you that, but that's just how my projections kind of spat it out today. This weekend. So that's the way in which I would suggest it. If you wanted to play Kenneth Walker in the flex over DJ, I got no problem with it. Their separation of ranks is 1 spot. Thank you. Miracle Robinson sends in a follow-up. Thank you, Miracle. Appreciate it. Says in a half PPR, McCaffrey, Bucky, Sutton, Worthy started. Okay, great. Henry or Laporta. I would rather play Sam Laporta over Hunter Henry this week. Bench wide receivers are Jennings, Myers, Pearsall, Ridley. Okay, understood. Which wide receiver do I start? Of the available that you have there, I'm playing Pearsall. The order in which I would start them would go Pearsall 1, Ridley 2, Myers 3, Jennings 4. Thank you. Says Henry is in my flex. Oh, Henry is not Hunter Henry. Henry is Derrick Henry. Understood. So you have McCaffrey. Okay, so hold up. Miracle Robinson. This is what you need to probably do. You take Henry, which I'm assuming is Derrick Henry. You put him in your RB spot. You move Christian McCaffrey to your flex. Because in the event in which McCaffrey does not play this afternoon, you need to fill in McCaffrey with probably Pearsall in the event in which he does not play. So you need to have the flexible option or opportunity to make that swap. Now, if it's Hunter Henry, then that's a different conversation. But if it's Derrick, make the swap, move McCaffrey to your flex and Derrick to your starting RB spot. Thank you. Okay, Horizon Fios sends in a question. Says in a half PPR, Flowers, Shakir, Diggs, Aaron Jones, pick 3. We're so back. Yeah, thank you very much, Horizon. Of those available options, if I'm picking 3 in a half PPR, I believe the odd man out may be Diggs, but it also could be Shakir. Let me see how I have it. As it currently stands, Diggs is the odd man out. I would play Flowers, Aaron Jones, and Khalil Shakir there. Thank you very much, Horizon. Pedro Martin sends in a question. Pedro, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Says Drake May or Trevor Lawrence. Much rather play Trevor Lawrence there. Thank you, sir. Also, if you could go give your thoughts on both of their seasons, I'd appreciate it. Both of their seasons. I mean, look, as of right now, they're both mobile quarterbacks in young offenses that should be elevating. They both have new offensive coordinators. Whoever stays healthy, that's the game. That's really it. Whoever rushes for more yards, that's the game. If you have both on roster, I think it's very helpful, though. That way you can play matchups going forward. But Trevor Lawrence is the better play this week. If you want to hear even further thoughts, there's videos that were posted in the month of August in regards to quarterback rankings, in which I go through, multiple minutes of talking about, both these quarterbacks at an extent. Thank you. Jack Peltier sends in a question. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it. Tongue twister with appreciate it, huh? Drop Purdy for T-Law. The thing is, I don't even mind Purdy in the absence of Christian McCaffrey because Purdy scrambles more. when McCaffrey's not around because he's got less of an opportunity to dump it off. Like when Christian McCaffrey's around and it's not Kyle Juszczyk running routes out of the backfield, Purdy's more inclined to scramble. So which I'm like, okay, well, there's still value there. That being said, I would rather play Trevor Lawrence this week. Thank you. Super Dave says, hi, Andrew. Check the comments. Yeah, Super. I'm going to assume that it's probably not in there. In the future, do me a favor and please attach it to your Super. That'd be greatly appreciated, man. Thank you. Let me see if we have a question here. Super Dave. Where is Super Dave's question? Says, hi, Andrew. And that's it. That's all I see, Super. This is why I tell you guys to attach it to the question, because I know that it's not going to be attached and it becomes a 10-minute spree of me trying to find your question, my man. So type that in when you get a chance. Thanks. Josh sends in a question. Says, Ramondre or Cooper Kupp in the flex full PPR? I'd rather play Cooper Kupp. Thank you. Loger sends in a question. Says, I know it's early, but Caleb Williams or Trevor Lawrence rest of the season? Oh, no, it's still Caleb Williams. But you got to remember, like, that I am somebody that is incredibly high on Caleb Williams. But the week's matchup against Minnesota isn't like the greatest thing ever. I'd rather play, if it was Caleb Williams versus Carolina in comparison to Trevor Lawrence playing Minnesota, I'm playing whichever quarterback is playing against the Carolina Panthers, right? I'm playing the pure matchup game here. So I'm still of the belief that Caleb Williams is going to be the better option rest of season in terms of total points contributed. I'm still going to, hold that opinion because, again, there's nothing to tell me otherwise. We haven't even seen them perform yet. So I'm still on the boat of Caleb Williams, but as of this week, I'd much rather play Trevor Lawrence because of that Carolina Panthers matchup on hand. Thank you. Dilly sends in a question. Says, I have Jacobs, Kamara, Cook as my running backs and Neighbors, JSN, and T-Mac as my wide receivers. Should I play all three wide receivers? I'm sorry. Should I play all three running backs? Excuse me, is your question? No. Of the available options, I am benching James Cook this week. So of your available options, regardless of scoring format, I'm playing Jacobs, Kamara, Neighbors, JSN, and T-Mac. I'm benching James Cook. Thank you. Jesse G sends in a question, says, happy birthday. Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate that. Says, I need one flex in a half PPR. We have Chubb, we have Troy Franklin, we have Diggs, Pittman, Leggett, and Merritt. Out of those available, I am playing Stephon Diggs. Says, shout out to the wife, Lily. Okay, sounds good, Jesse. Good luck to everyone in week 1. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, my man. Kevin sends in a question. Says, PPR flex, Sutton or James Cook? I'd rather play Sutton this week. Thank you, my man. Appreciate it. Thank you, Kevin. All right, the Super Dave sent in this question. Says, it's up there? Yeah. Look, that doesn't... Okay. Here's the thing, Super Dave. You need to type it again. That's all I'm going to say. Copy, paste it. Do whatever you have to. You have to paste it again. Or if you don't, I cannot see it. You got to remember, listen, even if it's up there, my YouTube chat updates every 15 seconds. So a message that was sent a minute ago is gone. Doesn't exist. Okay? Thank you. All right, we continue on after Kevin's question. Thank you very much. Keloid, long time no see. Hope you're doing well, my man. Says, we took first and third last year in my league. Sounds good. Hopefully we can get some championships here, shall we? Says, thanks for the wisdom. DM question in Patreon. Full PPR, need a defense. Sorry for asking this way. I mean, listen, if you're a Patreon member, then you already have the rankings available. Just go and download them. You can either download the PD, I have 2 JPEGs, which are just screenshots of both half and full PPR rankings. And then I have the Excel sheet, which you can download or import into Google Sheets. So that's probably the best way to answer your question is by just looking at the rankings, because I'm not gonna deviate from my own rankings, right? Like I found the projections and that's how I'm kind of approaching it. But let me see what your question is, Keloid. I see you. Okay. Says, can I send you screenshots in DM only on Discord, but we'll probably handle that later this afternoon rather than doing that right now. But I will read your question, Keloid, via the Patreon. It says, I was going to add Chicago after games today, and decided who to drop after. Okay, that's not a bad idea. That's a good preparation point. But I think I want to pick up the Jets, which I would say yes. Okay, looking at the available options here. Yeah, look, if I was going to make the suggestion, I'll tell you to play the Jets defense today, for sure. Now, in regards to the Chicago defense, it depends on what they play next week. Let's see here. NFL Week 2 schedule. Next week, the Jets play against the Bills, so I'm obviously not going to be interested in playing them at that point. And the Bears play against the Lions, so I'm not really interested in picking up the Bears either. So in this situation, if we're looking forward to next week and trying to pick up a defense preemptively, if the 49ers are out there, they play against the Saints next week. That sounds like a beautiful matchup in my mind. The Rams play against the Titans next week. That's another incredible one. So those are some options in which you could be, theoretically be going after. That I'm looking at in terms of week 2 matchups. So yeah, those are some solid ones as of right now. But yes, I would rather play the Jets this week. As to looking to the rest of your lineup, Keloid, Josh Allen, Kyron Williams, Travion Henderson, Jamar Chase, Travis Hunter, Tyler Warren, Jerome Ford. In comparison to the available bench options you have all the right pieces in the right places. Let me just check really quick. What's your scoring format, by the way? I don't see what your scoring format is, but let me see where I have Ford in comparison to Ridley in a full PPR, just to confirm. As of right now, if you're playing in a full PPR, I'd probably rather play Ridley there in the flex position. Thank you, Kilo. I appreciate it. Okay, we had Jimmy G, who sends in a question. It says Warren or Ridley in the flex. Okay, so I'm assuming Warren, when you mention it, is Jalen and not Tyler. I'm assuming, but who knows? As it currently stands, if we're talking about Jalen Warren versus Calvin Ridley in a full PPR, I would rather play Jalen Warren. Thank you. Matthew Wallace sends in a question. Says, howdy, Andrew. Eckler or Odunze half PPR? Great question. I think it's going to be Eckler. Let me just confirm. I do have Eckler ahead of Odunze. There are about 7 ranks separating the two, but Eckler is the preferred of the two. Thank you, Matthew Wallace. Joe sends in a question. Joe Buddha. That's what we're going to call you here. Joe Budafuko. Interesting name. Actually pretty cool. Start Travis Hunter or Deebo Samuel. I have Brian Thomas. Yeah, I'm just going to go all in on the Jaguars this week. So yeah, let's take Travis Hunter there. Thank you. Emily Doyle sends in a question. Good morning, Emily. Says, hi, Andrew. In a full PPR, Olave or ETN? Great question. Let's see where we have Olave in comparison to ETN. As it currently stands, I have Olave ranked higher. Thank you. Appreciate it. Again, that's primarily because ETN has the split of the backfield with Bigsby. He also has the threat of Trevor Lawrence and the rushing ability there, while we have Olave in a negative game script. That offense is probably going to throw the ball close to 35, maybe 40 times tonight. Or this morning, excuse me. Gio sends in a question. Gio, thank you very much. Says flex full PPR, Tracy Jr. or Pearsall. As it currently stands, in a full PPR, where do we have Pearsall or Tracy Jr.? Let's check the ranks real quick. I have Pearsall ranked higher. They're both within the same... No, they're not even in the same tier. No, I'm playing Pearsall. That's my suggestion. Thank you. Okay, let's see here. We have any updates as of this morning? Just want to check here. What does it say? Okay, so as of Adam Schefter, 10 minutes ago, I'm sure you guys have seen this. Christian McCaffrey will play. So that is good news, according to Adam Schefter. Let me read the actual post that he put on Twitter. It says, Christian McCaffrey of the 49ers, added to the injury report on Thursday with a calf injury, will play today against the Seahawks. He's quote-unquote good to go. Yeah, I mean, if Schefter has his sources inside of the organization and they know that he's going to play, then we're firing him up. We have no issues at all. If you guys have Christian McCaffrey, obviously you know what to do. Fire him up and let's hope for 20 points this week, shall we? Thank you very much. Again, hopefully there's more. Let's see, is there any other injury updates? Giants have a package of plays intended for Jackson Dart on the field. Okay. That's just irrelevant to here. Okay, continuing on. We continue with a question from... Oh, actually, you know what? Before I even get there, let me see if Super Dave sent in the follow-up. Just typed it after you asked, but it was before the comments. Okay, I got it. Thank you, Super Dave. It says, ugly PPR question. I need a second flex between JCM, aka Bill, Loveland, Caleb Johnson, Woody Marks, Burden, or Kyle Manungai. Whew. Okay, let me check my flex rankings. Is it a PPR? Yeah, PPR. Okay. Let me see where I have Loveland compared to the rest. Let's see. Okay, so I have Loveland. I'm not starting Burden this week. Absolutely not. I don't even think Burden's starting. And expect a lot of 12 personnel on Monday, where we're going to see a lot of Loveland and Komet in the same lineup, where you're only seeing 2 wide receiver sets. Expect a lot of that. So expect Burden not to get on the field very often. Even though Burden is a hell of a blocker, I will say that preemptively. And if you can block in a Ben Johnson offense, expect to be on the field. Anyway, of your available options, Colston Loveland is my highest ranked. I would rather play him over Bill, Caleb Johnson, Woody Marks, Kyle Manungai, and Burden. Thank you. Appreciate it. Alrighty. So we took care of that. We continue on with the following. Okay. Surly W says, hi, Andrew. Which would you start? They are super close. Pure Salt or Egbuka? I would rather play Egbuka, honestly. Thank you. Egbuka is my preferred. Yes, they are very close in my rankings, but Egbuka is the preferred. Appreciate it. All right. Sir Vansalot says, in a 10-team full PPR, Sir Vansalot, first and foremost, nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Says Coleman for Allen stack. It says, interesting. 10-team PPR, would I rather play Coleman or Cup? Let me see. Keon Coleman in comparison to Cooper Kupp. Let me see where I have them. As of right now, I have Cooper Kupp ranked higher this week. Mainly because, again, that Baltimore Ravens matchup. When you have guys like Jair Alexander, Marlon Humphreys, Nate Wiggins. I mean, again, they got a great secondary. Kyle Hamilton, sheesh, he just secured the bag a couple weeks ago. There's a lot of talent in that secondary. If I was in your spot, I would rather have Coleman rest of season. But as of this week, I'd rather have Kupp. So go about it whichever way you're looking. If this is a question, a matter of starting or a matter of bench depth, I think we have two different answers. Starting Kupp, holding Coleman. Thank you. Okay, that's all. Sends in a question. Says, how do we feel about Diggs and RJ Harvey this year? I mean, Diggs is purely just a matter of how healthy is he? Has he lost a step after the ACL? And if he's going to be the implicated number one wide receiver of that offense, how good is Drake May? Are we going to see him ascend like we anticipate? Is Josh McDaniels going to bring the best out of him? If those things come to fruition, then of course, Diggs should be great. He should be a top 36 option. Now, in the event in which he has lost a step and Drake May doesn't ascend and the offensive coordinator is calling terrible plays, then we're in a little bit of trouble. As for RJ Harvey, we're going to figure it out in about 6 hours from now. We're going to know soon enough, sooner rather than later, as to what the potential of Harvey is in comparison to J.K. Dobbins. Because when we are dealing with a Sean Payton offense, we have a lot of smoke and mirrors, we got a lot of lying, and we have a lot of deciphering. And until we get to see them play, it's more of I expect RJ Harvey to be highly implicated for touches in this backfield. But if J.K. Dobbins is the clear and away starter in the beginning, it's going to take a little bit of time before he can be a clear and away outright start every single week at an RB top 24 capacity. Chronofied sends in a question. Chronofied, hope you're doing well. Says, hey, Andrew, in a full PPR and a 0.3 per rushing attempt. Okay, point per rushing attempt. And a half a point per first down league. Do I play Pollard or Waddle? I mean, I think you have to play Pollard. When you're playing in a 0.3 per rushing attempt league, that kind of value that Tony Pollard presents, I think is a little bit too much to ignore. Let me just cross-reference something really quickly. And also, when you're running back, point per first down, short yardage situations, I think that is also very much so. Even though we're going to probably see Waddle catch the ball 4, 5, 6 times today, and maybe he catches a first down every single time, that's extra 3 points. But to get the 3 points from Pollard, he just needs to get himself the 10 rushing attempts and then all the opportunities of first downs on top of that. So between the two, I think let me see here. And also, there were games last year in which Tennessee lost to Detroit, okay? They lost to Detroit 52-14 last year. They got blown the fuck out, okay? Excuse my language. That was, when I saw the score there. Anyway, Pollard had 20 rushing attempts in that game, right? So whenever you're in that kind of a situation where you're still getting a high volume of rushing attempts, even though you're getting blown out, expect for Pollard to still be relevant and be the better play of the two because of the format that you're currently in. Thank you. Okay, continuing on. We have the following. Where art thou? Let's see here. Okay, your follow-up question to that says, I already got playing Dak CD. Okay. Need a huge game. Yeah, I'm still going Pollard there. I think in terms of your league scoring format, it is in his favor. Anonymous sends in a question. Says, do I drop Palmer, Tesla, or Burden for Monangai? I think that's a really... Look, here's the thing about Isaac Tesla. He has to compete with him and Burden are in a complete... if I'm dropping somebody, I'm dropping Tesla. Because you got to think about it this way. The Detroit Lions traded away Tim Patrick to the Jacksonville Jaguars, if you guys remember. Okay? So Tesla is playing the Tim Patrick role. He's going to be on the field, but he is the number 6 option in this offense. He is after Gibbs, Montgomery, Amon-Ra, Laporta, and Jamison Williams, who just inked a new deal. Congratulations to him. 3 years, $83 million, 27.5 per year. Crazy number. Tesla's the odd man out in my mind. But if you want to keep him, then you drop Burden. But I'm keeping Palmer for right now until further notice. Leonidas 707 sends in a question. Thank you, Leonidas. Appreciate it. Says, which running back should I start this week? Aaron Jones or Jalen Warren in a full PPR? I would rather play Jalen Warren there. Thank you. Says, and who do you think will have the better season between the two going forward? That's a great question. I would like to still hope that Aaron Jones got some juice in his legs and that Jordan Mason isn't going to completely steal all of his opportunity. But I think like Jalen Warren is in a very similar situation in which he's got another running back on his tail taking away touches. So I think still in the long run, I still like Aaron Jones going forward. But I think the Pittsburgh Steelers inking a new deal with Jalen Warren gives us a little bit more confidence in regards to his potential future for the season and how they want to utilize him. But when you're attached to the Vikings offense in comparison to the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, I think there's just more value to be had there. So I'll still stick with Aaron Jones the rest of the season, but Warren this week. Thank you. Trill, CB sends in a question. Or Sebi. Says Diggs, Henderson, Hunter, start 2. Great. Let's see where we have here. Is it a full PPR? Doesn't mention it. Okay. I'm going to assume we're talking about a full PPR. So for that context, let's just go ahead and let's pull up the rankings accordingly here. Where do we, is it Henderson? Okay, let me see where I have Henderson in comparison. Yeah, so as of right now, my suggestion will be to play Henderson and Hunter this week, Trill. Thank you. Carlos M sends in a question. Says Debo or Kenneth Walker in the standard? Gotta play Kenneth Walker, especially considering the standard format where you get 0 points per reception. Kenneth Walker is my suggestion. Thank you. Keloid sends in a follow-up. Thank you very much, Keloid. Says, haha, full PPR. I was looking for you, for who you would drop because I don't have a defense. My bad, dude. I wasn't reading it. That's my bad. I was trying to just, okay. Let me see. I'm going to look at your team right now. So you're looking for who to drop because you don't have a defense. So considering the available options you have on roster, I'm technically dropping Brock Purdy there because you have Josh Allen. And let me just confirm this. Bills schedule. Let me see when the Bills have a bye week. The Bills don't have a bye week till week 7. So yeah, at this point, I'm dropping Purdy. And if you're like, Andrew, I always have to roster 2 tight ends because that's the kind of format I play. Oh, sorry. I have to always roster 2 quarterbacks because that's like the minimum you can, or yeah, that's the way that my league format is. And you can't drop Purdy, then you drop Leggett. But otherwise, Purdy's the guy that I drop because you have Josh Allen. Don't need a second quarterback until week 7. So we could prepare to pick up a quarterback by week 6 and play matchups by then. Thank you. All right, we continue on. Thank you again, Keloid, for sending that in. Apologies for not being able to answer that the first time around. Okay. Shivanya Walker, I believe that's how you pronounce the first name. I could be completely butchering that, and if I am, I apologize, Walker. Much love, brother. Can Renfro be something in a PPR? I think so, yes. Now, as to how long he can be something is also another follow-up question because Jalen Coker is going to return and Jalen Coker is expected to be that slot receiving option. But in the absence, he could absolutely earn a role because we know that the slot receiving option of the Carolina Panthers offense has been relevant for years and years. And as long as Renfro has some juice left in the system, which, you know, having watched a lot of the training camp kind of reps of McMillan, and then subsequently, just because of by proxy watching Renfro, he's still got juice left in the tank. So there's a reason why he's on a roster right now in comparison to, you know, no longer playing like he was a year ago this time. But I think he could be relevant. Is he better than Thielen? I don't think so. But is he still somebody that could be of value? Absolutely. I'm not going to say it's out of the realm of possibility. Like this week, I have him ranked wide receiver 54. Right? Like I'm not starting him in any capacity, but he's still going to be a contributing factor to that offense. Also follow up, start 1, cut 1. Higgins, Shaheed, Etienne. Wow. I hate this question because I'm starting Etienne, but I don't want to cut either Higgins or Shaheed. This one's going to be tough. I'm starting ETN. I'm cutting Higgins. Shaheed is a better football player right now. Thank you. AJ sends in a question. Says, sending appreciation. Couldn't do a season without you. Thank you very much, AJ. I greatly appreciate that, my man. Okay, really quickly. Considering we are about an hour and a half into the live stream, really quickly, just want to remind you guys who are joining us this morning. Good morning. Welcome to Sunday of week 1 of the 2025 fantasy football season. Hope you guys are doing well. Just want to remind you guys, for those of you who are not familiar with what's going on over here, what's going on as to what I'm answering. As of right now, I'm taking priority questions in regards to Super Chat, answering those first and foremost. So again, if you want to get your questions answered quickly rather than later, that would be the way. Now, additionally, I have posted rankings right here for the purposes of trying to answer your questions this morning without having to directly, vocally answer them. So the rankings that are on screen that are filtering are for running back, wide receiver, tight end, quarterback, kicker, defense for half PPR, 4-point per passing touchdown format. So if you have any questions regarding these players, it's on screen. These rankings do not include any players who have already participated this week. So anybody from the Eagles, Dallas Cowboys, Chiefs, and Chargers are not included here because I wanted to present as many players as possible to give us an advantage to potentially winning this week. If you guys want my all-encompassing rankings for both half, full PPR, again, we've talked about it all off season. You can either first and foremost check out the Patreon. That again is filtering in there as you can get the rankings immediately right now. Or if you want, and maybe Patreon, a subscription service like that, it's not something that is up to your speed. It's not something that you're very interested in because again, you don't want to deal with the hassle of all that kind of stuff. You can always go ahead and check out Betr. We've talked about it over the course of this season in regards to signing up using code Andrew with the link down below, making that first time deposit minimum of $10, and then making a first time play minimum of $1 within a real cash play. So one of the $10 you deposit, if you play with that, with making a potential play, picking more or less on a given player's stats, then at that point, you'd be in a position to getting those rankings sent from my email directly to yours by position, by tier, full PPR, half PPR, all encompassing rankings every Sunday for the remainder of the season, weeks 12, technically weeks 2 through 18, because I don't know between now and the start of kickoff if I'll be able to get those rankings out to you because my list doesn't update. I think it's like an every 3-hour update kind of deal. Speaking of that, let me see if it has updated recently. No, it hasn't. So again, if you guys have already made that sign up via Betr, you've already probably received the email. Check your spam folder if you haven't this morning. Thank you. Okay, we've caught up. Let's continue on. We had a question that comes in from Shane Howard. Shane, thank you very much, sir. He has actually 2 questions. The first one being Trevion Henderson, DK Metcalf, or Rome Odunze. Out of those available, I think I'm going Henderson. Let me just confirm as to my full PPR rankings. I am, in fact, going to suggest that you play... Ooh, wow. What are these updates on my phone? My goodness. Darnell Mooney inactive. Interesting. Okay. So, if anything, Chris Rodriguez inactive. Okay, guys. It's time. It's JCM time. It's happening. It's happening, guys. It's Bill time. Okay. I have to make some adjustments here. Hold up. Everybody stay calm. Okay, so with Chris Rodriguez Jr. being inactive, a healthy scratch at that is the team displaying that JCM and Austin Eckler are going to be the 1-2 combo. There's a reason why I told you guys a couple weeks ago that Chris Rodriguez played in the final preseason game for the Washington Commanders. And that's not by accident, it's by design. And Eckler and JCM did not participate in that game. If JCM was still competing for a job and not in the top 2 rotation, he would have played in that game. This is a indication that the organization is probably looking in this direction to be a primary ball carrier as of not only today, but going forward. Very good sign for those of you who made that investment. Fingers crossed that, again, these are not just smoke and mirrors by the organization and that Austin Eckler isn't going to be carrying the ball 300 times this year. Let me see what else we have. So Chris Rodriguez, a healthy and active for week 1. Again, very, very positive for us going into this week. What else? Will Campbell, left tackle for the Patriots, is active, which is great. Darnell Mooney's inactive. Okay, so Darnell Mooney's inactive nature, I think, does potentially promote Kyle Pitts. So Kyle Pitts being my number 11 tight end, well, I think he's my number 11 and a half PPR. Number 11 and a half PPR, I honestly am going to elevate his ranking. So, and I'm also going to elevate JCM here into my top 36 running back conversation. So let me go ahead and, if you guys will, give me a moment to readjust my rankings here so that we can have that up to date on screen available to go. Let's go ahead and this is the way that I'm thinking I go about this. So if we take these players, drop them here, we'll do this, we'll do this. Okay, So this is how I want to do that. Okay, I'm going to open up my Photoshop. Give me a moment. Again, I'm going to have to update these rankings ever so slightly. I'm going to also move up Kyle Pitts one spot there ahead of Ingram to be able to adhere to that potential change. Okay, let's do this. Okay, beautiful. Let me open up my Photoshop. Hopefully it doesn't crash my computer. I don't think it will. But until then, let me continue to answer some of these questions. So in regards to your question, Shane Howard, Travion Henderson, DK Metcalf, Rome Odunze, PPR. As of right now, I technically have DK Metcalf number 1, Henderson 2, Rome Odunze 3. As for your second question, Shane Howard said also start Purdy or grab Trevor Lawrence or Bryce Young. I am perfectly fine starting Purdy. Again, I think in terms of rest of the season, I have him ranked higher than Trevor Lawrence. So if you're not going to suffer by picking him, if you're not going to suffer losing a good valuable bench piece by dropping somebody for Trevor Lawrence, I think that the difference between Purdy and Lawrence this week is close enough to where I'm comfortable just starting Purdy, firing him up, letting him continue to play well. But again, if you're like, hey, listen, I got an extra bench spot anyway, then sure, maybe pick up Trevor Lawrence and play him this week. Thank you. Okay, let me update my tight end rankings real quick. So let's go ahead. Let's go here. Let's put Kyle Pitts up a spot accordingly. Let's file. Let's save this. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do, actually. Okay, so I've updated the tight end rankings. That should display on screen as an update. And then I'm going to go ahead and update my running back rankings here, of course, to adhere to the potential of JCM. And my speculation that, again, Chris Rodriguez being inactive is giving us credence to playing JCM, Ja'Cory, Krosky, Merritt. That'll be that. I'm still leaving Eckler where he is. I'm not downgrading Eckler because I expected another running back to be in the mix, but as to how much, we'll just have to wait and see. Okay. Wow, my phone is blowing up with notifications. Nick Chubb expected to serve as bell cow. Alan Lazard inactive. Andrew Thomas inactive. Vita Vea active. Okay, cool. Good to go. All right, I've updated the rankings. Hopefully that is displayed on screen accordingly. And then we can continue to answer questions. Again, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, my new number 30. Thank you. All right, continuing on here. We have a question that came in from Raul Matthew, who says, in a half PPR league, Tyrone Tracy or Cooper Kupp? I'd rather play Tyrone Tracy. Thank you. Twisted Folk sends in a question. Says, in a half PPR, please order flex options DJ, as in DJ Moore, Tyrone Tracy, Travis Hunter, and Henderson. Cool. Let me see where I have them ranked in a in a half PPR, excuse me. Really quickly, I just need to do this real quick. And then I need to do this real quick. All right. So your question was DJ Moore, Tyrone Tracy, Travis Hunter, and Henderson. So I see Henderson there. I see Tracy effectively ahead of him. I have DJ Moore ahead of him. So as of right now, the order at which this would go is the following. DJ Moore, Tyrone Tracy, Travion Henderson, and then Travis Hunter. Twisted Folk. Thank you. Steven Delatorre. Thank you very much. Says Egbuka or Ford in the flex. I would rather play Emeka Egbuka. Thank you. Pro 922 says Tracy or Golden over Ridley. PPR scared about Pat Surtain the second. Okay, I'm playing Tracy over Ridley. But am I playing Golden over Ridley in a full PPR is the question. Golden is not ahead of Ridley. I mean, at this point, Tracy, Ridley, I actually have them back to back. I actually have, in a full PPR, I'm looking at it right now, I have Ridley at 48, Tracy at 49. So technically, I'm still going to play Ridley. But if you wanted to swap one over Ridley, then it's Tracy, in my mind. The only time I would ever play Golden ahead of Ridley is if Reed is out. But we're not going to know of that until this afternoon. And considering Tracy plays in the 10 o'clock window in about an hour and 20, Tracy's probably the play if you're looking for the pivot. Otherwise, you hold the Ridley and then potentially swap to Golden. Thank you. Hi Sven sends in a question, says Pearsall, Diggs, or Chubb. I'd rather play Pearsall there, regardless of scoring format. Also, Ford, Pittman, or Debo. Let me check where I have Jerome Ford comparatively to Debo. Ford. I have Debo Samuel ahead of Ford in a full PPR. Let me check where I have them in a half PPR. In a half PPR, it's the opposite. So half PPR Ford, full PPR Debo. Thank you. Hi, Sven. Hector Hernandez says, Andrew, did you ever answer my question? I missed it. Yes, I did, but I'll go back up there. Let me see. Let me scroll back up here, Hector, real quick. Thanks, sir. So you had asked, should you play Judy or Pearsall in a half PPR? I was mentioning. So again, the rankings that are on screen are for a half PPR, and they are updated as of this morning. So in regards to the two of those players, I do have them ranked back-to-back in the half PPR format as Ricky Pearsall is my number 20 and Judy's my number 21. So I would suggest playing Pearsall there. If you wanted to play Judy, I don't have an issue because, again, they are my number 20 and 21 back-to-back. Very similar projection out point. So, yes, did answer the question, and I would suggest playing Pearsall. Thank you, Hector. Trail sends in a follow-up. Says, Jaden Reed, Bayshall Tootin, Thornton Jr., drop any for Manungai. If I was going to drop anybody of those three, I would consider Thornton as the drop. That would be the only one. I'm not dropping Jaden Reed or Bayshall Tootin for him. Thank you. Sway sends in a question. Says, thoughts on my team. Okay, thoughts, question mark. It says, quarterbacks Nix and Penix. My wide receivers are Neighbors, BTJ, JSN, Myers, Mooney, Thielen. Really quickly, Sway. Take Mooney, throw him into your IR spot, go pick up somebody else. Just to have the extra option. Again, if you guys have Mooney on roster and you have an available IR spot, drop him. Or sorry, not drop him. Throw him into your IR position if you have an available spot and go pick up a player that could be a potential waiver wire stud by tomorrow afternoon. Theoretically, we've heard names like Kyle Manungai. I'll even suggest names like Cedric Tillman as options where if like, hey, you got an opportunity to pick him up, go make that decision. And let's see what happens. What is this? Okay, I'm looking at a list of inactives posted by Adam Schefter, Raheem Mostert inactive, Alan Lazard. Okay, so Alan Lazard being active, in my mind, leads to more receptions from Mason Taylor. As for Raheem Mostert being inactive, not really a surprise. I think, again, what is he, 33 years old at the running back position, been in the league for about 10 years here, so not a surprise there, as we're expecting to see Mr. Genty carry the ball 25 times today, hopefully. Or at least touch the ball 25 times. Anyway, Sway, looking at your team as a whole, you have Thielen, Kamara, Tracy Merritt, Ollie Gordon, Braylon Allen. Those are also names. If you're putting Mooney to your IR and you have an opportunity of picking up a Ollie Gordon or a Braylon Allen, let's give the lottery tickets a whirl this afternoon, please. Thank you. Okay, thoughts on the team. You don't need Penix. That's something that I would drop. Again, I think if you have Nix on roster, you're playing Nix every week for the remainder of the season. Penix is just like a backup option, I guess, theoretically. But the thing is, the Broncos, I think they have a late bye week this season. Yeah, they have a week 12 bye. So again, you're not going to need to have Penix on roster. Again, that's a completely different strategy point. As a team as a whole, it's a very talented team. Figuring out who your RB2 is in due time is going to be the most important thing, because other than that, tight end is set, quarterback is set, and wide receivers, you got a bunch of studs. RB2 is the biggest question mark, which it's either going to be one of those potential Tracy or Merritt going forward, which again, I'm excited about. And then, of course, once Loveland becomes a weekly startable option, then at that point, you may be able to trade him or trade Hawkinson, then play Loveland, which I think is a great investment. E. Jesse sends in a question, says, should I cut Jaden Blue? You could, if the alternative option is, another one of these lottery ticket backs. This is what I will say. Once Miles Sanders fumbled that ball on Thursday against the Eagles, he did not play a single down after that. So I went back and I specifically watched for those purposes. There's a possibility that Miles Sanders fumbling that football could have given Jaden Blue a window to potentially get himself some looks this upcoming week. Time will tell, but as of right now, if you want to cut him, you can go ahead, because again, being a healthy scratch is definitely the worst case scenario. That's why Chris Rodriguez getting the healthy scratch designation is a kiss of death to say. But if you want to cut him, you can. I still have hope. Sean Foley sends in a question, says PPR. I need one flex. Adams, Egbuka, Henderson, McMillan. Out of those available, I'm suggesting you play Tetarola McMillan. Thank you. Orlando sends in a question, says PPR, drop one. Add Aomanor or keep my players, Braylon Allen, Caleb Johnson, Ollie Gordon, Josh Downs, Chris Olave, and Thornton. I would keep the players you have. Thank you. Cam Cap sends in a question. Thank you, Cam. Says, check Christian McCaffrey, Schefter report, news thoughts. Yeah, he's playing, right? So we're good. We're good to go. Again, I have Christian McCaffrey set as such, unless there's a new report that I missed from Shefty. And I can check that right now. And this given second, one moment. Unless there's something new from Shefty, which I don't think there is. Let's see. Christian McCaffrey playing today. Yeah, as expected. Good to go. So, yeah, fire him up. We know what we're doing. Let's not get too cute with it now. Let's play Christian McCaffrey. And we're going to hope that his calf was just a... Look, from what Shefty said the other day on the McAfee show, he specifically said from his sources, he was told that Christian McCaffrey felt like he was cramping. And they weren't sure if it was a cramp or if it was a strain. So he decided to pull himself out of practice on Thursday. And then they wanted to be extra precautious with the approach. Therefore, he didn't participate in the full practice Friday because he's Christian McCaffrey. He doesn't need to practice. So we're going to hope that that is all in the right direction and that Mr. McCaffrey delivers a great performance for here, for us this week and for the remainder of the season. Okay, Yoni Rubin sends in a question. Says, love you, man. Thank you very much, Roni. I appreciate that. Yoni, not Roni. Yoni says, in a full PPR, we have Egbuka, we have Pitts, we have David Montgomery in the flex. I would rather play Egbuka out of the bunch. Thank you. Says, I have Gibbs already. I'm projected to 53% to 47%. I need to win this week. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're looking for the win, I think Egbuka is the proper play out of the bunch. Thank you. 26 Bands sends a question. Says, Colts, Commanders, 49ers, or Jets, full PPR. Okay, so if we're looking at... Okay, really quickly. The rankings for defense are going to show up here in just a moment. I do appreciate you sitting in the super, but you don't even have to do that. You can answer the question via the rankings that are here. These rankings are as of this morning. In fact, as of the last 10 minutes, because I just updated Kyle Pitts to go up ahead of Evan Ingram there. I could even justify playing him over Kraft and Warren, but I didn't give it too much thought because, again, it was a quick adjustment. But in regards to defenses, Commanders, Colts, 49ers, Jets that you just mentioned. Jets are my number 5. Commanders are my number 6. The 49ers are my number 9, and the Colts are not in my top 12, so I'm not really too interested in playing them against the Miami Dolphins today. So Jets number 1, Commanders 2, 49ers 3. I'm comfortable with any of the 3 that you play, and I think they should all be fine. AJ Wright sends in a question. Thank you, AJ. Says pick 2 between DJ Moore, Tyrone Tracy, Jerry Jeudy, and Diggs. Okay, let me see where I have them. I believe in a full PPR. I'm going with 2 receivers in that scenario, but let me just confirm. I don't know what your scoring format is. Hopefully it is a full PPR. If not, I'll answer it for both scenarios. But in the future, please make sure you guys include your scoring format when you send in those questions. In this circumstance, I would play DJ Moore and Jeudy in a full PPR. Okay. If it was a half PPR, let me check really quickly. In the event in which it's a half PPR, I would play DJ Moore and Tracy. Okay. So half PPR, DJ Moore, Tracy. Full PPR, DJ Moore, Jeudy. Thank you, AJ Wright. Appreciate it. Gucci Han, Louis Han, what's up, my man? How's it going? Says, my guy, in a full PPR, Tyrone Tracy or Keon Coleman? Rather play Tyrone Tracy. Again, 6 of the last 7 games in which the Giants have played against or is it 5 of the last 6 or 6 of the last 7? I don't remember. The majority of the time, the vast majority of the time. You know what? Let me just look it up. What am I even doing? Giants versus Commanders history. I believe in the last 6 meetings, the games have been decided by 1-score victories. So let me just confirm this. Okay. Yeah. So it's actually even 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of the last 10 games between the Giants and the Commanders have been 1-score games. There's a lot of familiarity within these organizations. Expected to be a closer one. So just putting it out there. Tyrone Tracy, pretty good play. I don't even know how I even got to that point. Why am I even talking about what just happened in my brain? Just play Tyrone Tracy. Why am I talking about? Anyway, thank you, John. Big Reg, thanks, man. All right, Michael Bell sends in a question. Michael, thank you very much, sir. Says PPR, half PPR. Would you trade Irving for Neighbors? Absolutely, yes. I would rather have Malik Neighbors. Let me even go look at my preseason draft rankings real quick, and I'll tell you right now who I had ranked higher and how much of a difference there is between the two. If I look at my draft rankings for a half PPR scoring format, I look at the flex position here accordingly. I have Malik Neighbors as my number 11 overall player. I have Bucky Irving as my number 14. So again, I don't see there being too much of a variance in terms of potential fantasy point contribution, but I think it is significant enough to where I'm comfortable trading for Malik Neighbors in the event in which you have enough sufficient running back depth to feel comfortable in that scenario. So yeah, I like Neighbors there. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it, my man. All right, we had Niner86 who says, in a half PPR, McLaurin or Pollard? Great question. Let me check where I have Pollard comparatively. Half PPR, we have Tony Pollard one spot ahead of Terry McLaurin. Legitimately, my number 29 compared to my number 30. Pollard one spot ahead. So as of right now, I am leaning in the direction of good old Tony Pollard there. Thank you very much. Again, I could justify going one way over the other, but Pollard is my preferred of the two. Thank you. All right, and then your follow-up question there, Niner, was Goff or Lawrence? Got to play Lawrence. Again, when you have the rushing upside, I think that really does make a huge difference for fantasy purposes. Now, it's not to say that Goff can't come out and throw 3 touchdowns, but it also can't say that Goff can come out and hand the ball off for 3 touchdowns today to Montgomery and Gibbs. So that's always the risk with Goff. With the new offensive coordinator, we've yet to see what they're potentially capable of. Are they going to be in that very similar situation of last year where they're one of the best offenses in the league, or are they going to take some steps back with regression? In comparison to Lawrence, yes, getting a new offensive coordinator, but this one being a plus to the overall scheme rather than something that could be a reduction to the potential of these players. So I'm playing Lawrence. I'm playing Pollard. Those are my suggestions, Niner. Thank you, man. All right, let's go. Buffalo sends in a question. Says, full PPR, pick one to start between Harvey or Pollard. I would suggest you play Tony Pollard this week. Week 1, Tony Pollard, rest of season. Tyjae Spears is eventually going to come back, so there's a chance in which Harvey could take that. But as of right now, in my pre-draft rankings, I have Pollard ahead of Harvey anyway, so I'm going to go Pollard in both scenarios. It says also, should I drop Tank, Keon, Tillman, Higgins, or Kincaid, I have Bowers, for Ollie Gordon? In the event in which you were looking to theoretically pick up Ollie Gordon, just to give it a whirl for this week, just to see if there is lottery ticket capacity with him. If I was going to theoretically drop a player, considering you have Bowers, I think Kincaid would technically be the drop, but the thing is, I always like to have a second tight end on a roster because I want to be able to flip that player. I want to see if they can actually be a weekly contributor in a top 12 capacity to which I can flip the play. As of right now, I think I probably end up dropping Cedric Tillman for it. I think that is the lowest value player you have in terms of rest of season. And I understand that he's got a lot of value with Flacco, but I think if you were going to make the move, you drop him rather than the alternatives. Thank you. Emily Doyle sends in a follow-up. Says, also, can we elaborate on McCarthy over Fields? Yeah, Fields plays against Pittsburgh. That matchup is not an exciting one, especially considering it's expected to be some of the lower scoring game of the week. That scares me. So if there's already an implication of it being a low-scoring game, then we're looking at probably a game in which both teams are running the ball heavily, the clock is going to melt, and if Fields isn't able to get the sufficient volume of rushing yardage, it becomes a scary kind of prospect. Because if you go back to last season, Pittsburgh against rushing quarterbacks, they were allowing a very slight volume of yardage to mobile quarterbacks. In specific, just to give it, because I looked this up earlier this week when I was kind of going through the potential projection numbers. Let me go ahead and pop it up right here. Lamar Jackson in the playoffs was the best performance against Pittsburgh all of last year in terms of them stopping opposing rushing quarterbacks, because really they didn't allow much at all. Just over the course of the season, Lamar had 22 yards during the regular season against them. In another game, had 46. Jalen Hurts had 45. Anthony Richardson, well, actually, he left that game due to injury. Bo Nix had 25. So, again, as a whole, Mahomes only had 12. So, entirely, they're pretty good at stopping opposing mobile quarterbacks. So, maybe Justin Fields shows up and runs that triple option and completely annihilates this defense. But in terms of the week, the matchup, the safety of it, I'd rather just play McCarthy, who I know is associated with a better offense in a higher scoring game, and ultimately considering Fields is 100% reliant on the rushing category, and the Pittsburgh Steelers got a pretty good run stop defense. He just lost an offensive guard. I'm going with McCarthy there. Thank you, Emily. Appreciate it. Alex Turner sends in a question. Nothing attached to it. Alex, hopefully you typed it in the live chat. If you can in the future, please do me a favor and attach it to your super. It'd be really helpful on my end to be able to find these questions and make a quick turnaround in terms of answering that question. Alex Turner says the following. Says Jacory Okrosky merit or Cedric Tillman in the flex in a full PPR? That's a really good question. Okay, so as to where I have put Okrosky merit in my half PPR rankings, if I was to theoretically adjust the rankings in a full PPR, I would put him still there at like RB 30-ish. To which at that point, if he's RB 30-ish and he goes to the, if he goes like above that, I'd still go Tillman. I'd still play Tillman. That's just being very conservative though. My Okrosky merit current adjustment, because I haven't been able to sit down and actually go through my projection and recalibrate the whole sucker, because I don't know how, I didn't expect Chris Rodriguez to be a healthy scratch. I think it does potentially provide a little bit of, I think I still play Cedric, because as of right now, I have Cedric as my number 83 theoretically, based on what I like kind of just quickly threw it in there. Okrosky would be at my 88. So there'd be about 5 ranks separating the two. If you wanted to play JCM, I don't have an issue with that though. Thank you. Okay, really quickly before we continue. All right, good to go there. All right, continuing on. Thanks again, Alex. I appreciate it. So yeah, if I was going to make the suggestion, I'd probably go with Cedric Tillman there still. Thank you. If you want to play JCM, don't have a problem. All right. L Memo 26 says, in a PPR, drop Rashee Rice for Golden. Lottery ticket. Okay, here's the thing. Rashee Rice is not allowed to be dropped, so find something else. Find something else. Considering Xavier Worthy's injury of a dislocated shoulder, if the shoulder is going to require surgery and he's going to miss a significant volume of time, then Rashee Rice's value once he returns pretty much picks up where Marquise Brown just left off with 16 targets and 10 grabs in week 1. So no, I'm not dropping Rashee Rice, and I'm not picking up Matthew Golden to accomplish that. I'm dropping somebody else. Someone else has got to go. I want Golden, but somebody else got to go because Rashee Rice has too much league-winning upside for later this season. Thank you. BDH Hopper sends in a question. BDH, hope you're doing well. Says, pick one in a full PPR, Marvin Harrison, Emeka Egbuka, or Jerry Jeudy. Of the available options you mentioned, I do have Marvin Harrison ranked the highest. The order in which I would go about it would be Harrison 1, and Egbuka 2, and Jerry Jeudy 3. Thank you. Nick L sends in a question. Says, happy birthday, brother. Thank you very much. Says, any better picks I can tail? Okay, so of the available options here, let's see if I can maybe throw this up on screen. There's a couple plays that I've suggested over the course of the last couple streams, so maybe that's something that could be of interest to you. I've logged in. I'm going to throw it up on screen above, and I'll share them in just a moment. One moment, please. Okay, we've got a good amount of potential suggestions here. Okay, so we're going to go through them one at a time. I'm going to display it up above. But what I need to do real quick is I need to do this. Okay, so as you guys can see, this is one of the plays. Pearsall, more than 3.5 receptions. Travis Hunter, more than 3.5 receptions. Then we have Chase Brown. Well, okay, this is a little bit of a sketchier play. I'm not even going to suggest that. This one's a little bit easier. Kamara, more than receptions. Njoku, more than receptions. Drake London, more than receptions. I got this number prior to the Darnell Mooney news, so it could be adjusted. Added this to the mix. Baker, more than 1.5 touchdowns passing. Burrow, more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. Lawrence and Purdy with 0.5 passing touchdowns each. Have a little bit of a crazy 50 for 55. I know it's a 1X. I get it. But A-Chain getting 2.5 receptions and Alvin Kamara getting 2.5 receptions, they do that in their sleep, okay, like legitimately. A-Chain receiving yards, Chase Brown receptions, I like that. And that pretty much covers it for this week in regards to potential plays via Betr that I've gone ahead and made. I might do some more later this afternoon, but I think in terms of the ones that I would like to suggest as of right now, that would cover it. Thank you. Alrighty, continuing on. We will see what we're at here in terms of Tony. who sends in a question, says, hello, Andrew. In a full PPR, for the flex, Mark Andrews or David Montgomery? Great question. Let me see where I have them accordingly ranked. Mark Andrews. I have Mark Andrews 1, 2, 3 spots ahead of David Montgomery in a full PPR. 69 compared to number 72 overall. Both in the same tier, so I could justify playing one over the other, but I do have Mark Andrews ahead, as Isaiah Likely and Patrick Ricard are both out today, leaving Mark Andrews as a potential little bit of a boost option this week. Thank you. Joseph Nichols, excuse me, my apology, says, PPR, Pearsall, Egbuka, Swift. Great question. I believe I'm going Egbuka. Let me confirm this. I am going Egbuka between the three. Thank you. Cam Cap says, drop Mason for Brian Robinson. If you have Christian McCaffrey, absolutely. If you do not, then no. Christian McCaffrey's playing today, and I don't think I'm in need of that. I'd rather just see what Mason's capable of on Monday. Donahue Brown. Donahue, long time no see. Hope you're doing well, brother. Says, should I trade Brian Thomas Jr. for Neighbors? I mean, theoretically speaking, not even theoretically speaking, just speaking off of the draft rankings in which I had just 2 weeks ago, not even 1 week ago. If we're just talking about a half PPR, full PPR, I have Neighbors ahead of BTJ. So I would. In the event in which you felt more comfortable with BTJ, I don't have an issue with it, but I think Neighbors is technically the upgrade. Both are going to improve upon their production last year, though. That's a given, as long as they stay healthy. Raul Matthew sends in a question, says, half PPR, Etienne, Njoku, or Cup. Of the available, I believe I have Njoku ranked the highest. Let me confirm this real quick. David Njoku is my highest ranked of the bunch. Thank you. Frizz sends in a question, says, stash Woody Mark, or drop Woody for Kyle Monangai. That's a really interesting question. I would rather... Okay, so here's the thing about Woody Marks, okay? This is my thought process on the matter. As it currently stands, the backfield for the Houston Texans is still a little bit unstable, in which we don't know what the true identity of the backfield is going to kind of comprise of. Is it going to be Nick Chubb with the semblances of Dameon Pierce in the running game? Is Derek Gumbawale going to be a special teams contributor? Or is he going to be a receiving back like he was last year? If Agumbawale is still in the mix, then Woody Marks is irrelevant. Now, while Roshan Johnson's dealing with his foot injury, I think Kyle Monangai could get himself into the rotation this week, enough to where he could even earn more opportunity going forward. Personally, considering we know what Ben Johnson in that offense is capable of, I'd rather have Monangai. Colin Smith sends in a question, says, still doing Hidden Gems videos this year? Absolutely. Look, week 1 Hidden Gems is not something that I usually do over the course of the last couple seasons on a Friday. Hidden Gems has not been kind of the go-to. Starting week 2, we got Hidden Gems every single Friday, hopefully for the remainder of the season. The only time in which I would probably ever skip a Hidden Gems episode is if I was going to do like a rest of season rankings or a trade targets video on a Friday in comparison. But as of right now, yes, Hidden Gems this upcoming week 2 Friday. Expect to see that back in its prime. Thank you. I appreciate that, Colin. To the Max sends in a question. Says, sup, Andrew. In a full PPR pick 2. All right, let's see what you have here. Jacobs, Kamara, Sutton, Judy, Pearsall. Yeah, I think it's very simple. I'm playing both running backs, Jacobs and Kamara, easily. No questions asked. They are significantly ahead of the pack. Also, I have to bench one. I have one bench spot. Excuse me. Who would you pick up? Leggett, Marquise Brown, Josh Palmer, Thornton, or Wanda Robinson? Marquise Brown immediately. If you could potentially pick him up, that is who you pick up. But because he's played, I would assume that in your league, you're not allowed to pick him up as of yet. But Marquise Brown is the answer. Because if, again, Rashee Rice is going to be out till week 7, and there's a possibility in which Xavier Worthy misses multiple weeks due to injury, the volume of opportunity that Marquise Brown was exposed to on Friday is such a significant volume to where he's a top 24 wide receiver rest of the way in the absence of those 2 receiving options for that offense. Thank you. Stephen Bowman sends in a question. Steven says, hey, Andrew. Says, I need your help filling in my final 2 flex spots in a full PPR. Half point per carry league. Downs, Mims, Sampson, and Pittman Jr. Wow. Okay. Half a point per carry. Ford is going to get the bulk majority. How much? Okay, let me just go look at what I have Sampson kind of projected out for. Okay. In a half point per carry, full PPR, final 2 flex spots. Downs for sure plays in one of them. So Josh Downs gets one of those spots. Now the question is, am I playing Michael Pittman, Mims, or Dylan Sampson? I don't think there's going to be enough carries to go around. I don't have him projected for many carries today. I think majority of the workload of where I have him projected for is for the receiving work, because Joe Flacco is a checkdown monster himself. The way that I see it, I probably just end up playing both of the Colts receivers. I go Mims and Downs. I go Downs and Pittman, which I hate the idea of playing both Colts, but that's my 2 highest ranked, even with the addition of the half point per carry function. Thank you, Steven. All right. Velez, 408, sends in a question. Says McCaffrey or Brian Robinson Jr. start both? No. Why? I'm sorry. Did we get is there a new notification that I'm not aware of, guys? I was under the impression that McCaffrey's playing today. So if McCaffrey's playing, that means Brian Robinson's standing on the sideline. So let's not overthink this. Play McCaffrey. Brian Robinson is just a handcuff until further notice. Thank you. It's Siobhan. Thank you. So it's just pronounced Siobhan. Yeah, because the AUHGH at the end threw me off. Siobhan, thank you. I appreciate that. Jennings or Pittman? I would rather play Jawan Jennings today. Thank you. Old J Running sends in a question. Says rest of season PPR. Drop Prescott for Drake May? Yes, I would. Trevor Lawrence or Caleb Williams? All of them. I have had May, Lawrence, and Williams all ranked higher than Prescott. I will take any of the 3. If I had to make a proclamation as to who I prefer rest of season, it's still Caleb Williams 1, Trevor Lawrence 2, Drake May 3 in that order. Thank you. Phil sends in a question. Phil, hope you're doing well. Says chat question full PPR for running back / wide receiver. There's 5 and 15 yards / point scoring. I don't know what you mean exactly by that, Phil, but I'm gonna see if I can decipher that question. It says Judy, Jennings, Egbuka, Myers, Waddle, and Pollard. Phil, can you explain what exactly you mean by that? 5 and 15 yards per point scoring. What is the 5? Like, is it 5 yards per receive? Is it 5 every 5 rushing yards is a point? If that is the case, we're playing Pollard blindly. If that is not the case, then I don't know what exactly your format kind of consists of there, Phil. Thanks, man. Taylor B sends in a question. Says Javonte Williams. Nope. Sorry, that's Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams, Pearsall, Bigsby, Tyler Warren, full PPR. I'm playing Pearsall. Thank you. Okay, CJ 0417 sends in a question. Says, who are we starting between Hunter, Golden, and Hall in the flex spot? What's your scoring format, CJ? If you could do me a favor, let me know. Phil says it's RB's 5 yards per point. Is that rushing and receiving? If that's rushing and receiving, give me Tony Pollard immediately. CJ, what's your scoring format, my man? Because as of right now, I'm playing Hunter in a full PPR. Pickens burned me in the flex spot. I also have Marvin Harrison at wide receiver. Yeah, I mean, at this point, Hunter is probably the play in my mind, assuming it's a full PPR, CJ. Thanks, man. Thoughts on Matt Prater? He should be solid. I mean, again, the thing is, I would like to assume the Bills are a good enough offense to where they get more touchdowns than field goals attempted. Matt Prater, again, he's a veteran. He's got a cannon for a leg, so he should probably be in a good spot. But as of right now, I got Prater as my kicker 16 on the board. He's behind guys like Riley Patterson, Brandon McManus, Evan McPherson, and then, of course, the top 12 that is represented on the ranking screen to the right. CJ said full PPR. Great. Let's play Travis Hunter there, my man. Thank you. Okay, really quickly, for those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome, good morning, and welcome to Sunday of week 1 of the 2025 fantasy football season. If you guys haven't yet already, do me a favor, click the like button down below. It is greatly appreciated. Right here on the right side of the screen are my updated rankings. So somebody was asking about quarterback. Who do I start? The rankings right there are updated as of this morning. So it's even beyond Wednesday's video upload. I have updated even beyond that, and it's no longer including players who have already played. So you won't see Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes on that list who were originally in that top 18 conversation on the Wednesday video. So again, if you guys want those interpositional rankings, it is on screen. Otherwise, again, like I've mentioned before, you can ask me in the chat and I'll try to get to answering those questions. Otherwise, you can check out the Patreon for rankings as of this current moment. You can get them for half full PPR, all-encompassing rankings. More information regarding that down below in the description. Or if in the future, again, you want my rankings every single Sunday morning sent from my email directly to yours. Again, we've talked about the better sign up in regards to using code Andrew, making that first time deposit minimum of 10, and then within one of those $10 that you deposited, making a real cash play within the given week, picking more or less on 2 players' given stats. Thank you. Okay. Let's see what we have in this chat. Okay, that has got to be a ban. Yeah, that's a ban. Gotta go. Not having that in here. Okay. I think my YouTube chat is about to crash, so I'm gonna go ahead and just reset it really quickly. Yeah, it's definitely about to crash. So, oh my God, my computer. Is my Photoshop still open? No, it's not open. I was about to say, I was like, why am I lagging? All right, we're good. Alrighty, let's catch up here, shall we? Okay, after Phil's question, we took care of Taylor B, which we're playing Pearsall there over JMO. We took care of CJ. Now we move to Alucard X019, who says, 1 running back, 2 flex, full PPR. Alucard's a really cool name. I don't know where that's from, but like a Dungeons and Dragon name, I feel like that would be perfect. My next character, I'm thinking that's my name. Anyway, 1 running back, 2 flex, PPR. We have Eckler, Henderson, RJ Harvey, Pearsall, Emeka Egbuka. Great. Of those available, Henderson's my starting running back. Pearsall and Emeka Egbuka are my 2 flex options. Thank you, Alucard. I'm writing that down, like legitimately. Give me a second here. Okay. We had a question that came in from Luxari, who says, 12-man full PPR, flex, Emeka Egbuka or Garrett Wilson. Give me Emeka Egbuka there. Thank you. Velez408 sends in a follow-up. Says, Bill, Jaden Higgins, or Kraft in the flex? Ooh, okay. Full PPR. Let's see what we have. Craft accordingly. Okay. How do I want to go about this? I think I might just play JCM there. I think I play Bill. Thank you. Not I think. If I was going to give you a suggestion, I go Bill 1, Kraft 2, Higgins 3 right now. Thank you. Hive sends in a question. Thank you, Hive. It says full PPR. Aaron Jones or DK Metcalf? Let me see where I have Aaron Jones comparatively. Currently going into this week, I have DK Metcalf ranked higher in a full PPR format. Another full PPR question. Flex David Montgomery, Austin Eckler, Waddle, or Myers. Give me Waddle there. Thank you. Chris Vela sends in a question. Thank you, Chris. Says PPR, Diggs, Pearsall, Montgomery, Pollard. Pick one. In a PPR format, I have Tony Pollard ranked the highest. Thank you. Okay, caught up there effectively. Now I can jump into the live stream chat. Let's see what we have here in the live chat. Alrighty. Phil says, Andrew, instead of trying to explain, can I send you screenshots? Can you send me screenshots? Probably not. Unless I've already added you on Discord in the past. Dracula backwards. You sneaky sons of guns. Hold up. Sorry. Give me a second, Phil. It's Dracula backwards. I like it. My character's going to be a vampire. It's perfect. Let's go. Anyway, where are we at? Phil. Yeah, unless I've already added you on Discord via Patreon, maybe you can send me a message on Patreon just to give me like the full extent of what the details are. Robert via Patreon just sent me a question. I'm going to check that out, Robert. I don't know if you're listening right now. There's a possibility in which you are. Says, hey, Andrew, drop 2 full PPR. I need a defense and a kicker. Ted McMillan, Sutton, Adams, Pearsall, Metcalf, Golden, Adunze, Diggs. Adunze and Diggs are your guys that get chopped. Those are the two. You got a lot of studs, but the best have to stay, and those are not the best. Those guys got to go. Thank you very much, Rob. So I'm just going to type it back to you just in case you're not here. Of the available okay. Continuing on. Let's see here. Phil says for rushing, it's 5 yards per point. Receiving, it's I see. Okay, yeah, great. We're still playing Pollard there. Beautiful. Thank you. Absolutely playing Pollard there. Because if he ends up with 60 yards, that's 12 points just in yardage alone. That's just, yeah. Too difficult to pass up on that kind of level of opportunity, considering the format. Thank you. Okay. Really quickly, let's see. Okay, so we took care of Chris Vela. We're playing Pollard there. CK Dine sent in a question. Thank you, CK. I appreciate that. Says the following. PPR, RB2, Eckler, Harvey, or Swift. I'm going to play DeAndre Swift out of the available options you've got today. Thank you. Venom. Or Venom, I guess, technically Venom. Says PPR, Penix or Fields? Oh, man. You know, I'm still going to stick with Fields. With Mooney out, that was my concern with Penix to begin with. I legitimately took 30 minutes yesterday to decide whether I wanted to have Penix or Fields above one another as my last quarterback on the ranking screen, just purely off of the Mooney potential. And now that he's inactive, I'm going Fields there. Otherwise, again, I think Penix is a good option, but without Mooney, man, you got to have Ray McLeod contributing at a higher capacity. Kadarius Hodge, like a little bit tougher of a week in my mind. Bug Eye Buck Nasty sends in a question. Hope you're doing well. Long time no see. Says full PPR. I need to pick 2 flex spots out of 3. Golden, McMillan, Henderson. Okay, McMillan has to play. As for Hendo versus Golden, I currently have Hendo ranked higher. In the event in which Jaden doesn't matter because Hendo plays right now. He plays in 40 minutes. Henderson and McMillan are my suggestions this week, Bug Eye. Thank you. Tank sends in a question. Tank says in a PPR, Jalen Warren or DJ Moore. Warren is projected more. That's cool. I mean, listen, if you want to work it off of whatever projections, I don't know where you're playing on in terms of like Sleeper or ESPN, Yahoo, whatever format, whatever platform you're playing on, that's up to your kind of approach. As I currently have it, my projections have DJ Moore ranked higher because I expect him to score more points. So I'm going to suggest DJ Moore. If you would like to play Jalen Warren, again, I see credence in the idea. I just personally would rather play DJ Moore in this circumstance. Thank you. Aaron Van Dyke sends in a question. Says healthy McCaffrey. He said quote unquote healthy, by the way, or safely play Swift. I am playing McCaffrey. Guys, let's just think about it this way, okay? The 49ers have Super Bowl aspirations, correct? They want to climb the mountaintop and they want to capture a championship. In order to accomplish that, they need Christian McCaffrey to help them get there. If he was not healthy, okay, they wouldn't play him this week. If they had any sort of conviction in terms of, you know what, maybe he has a potential of re-injuring himself. If there was any conviction there from McCaffrey, the coaching staff, the health team, the doctors, and of course the trainers of the organization, I'd assume they'd hold him out. Because you don't need him in week 1. You need him weeks 2 through 21 to try to make a Super Bowl run at it. To try to win a division from weeks 1 through 18. So again, I think they wouldn't play him unless he was healthy. And I know that we're, again, very much so conditioned to be afraid, and we're conditioned to not believe the 49ers at their word because, again, they've kind of burnt us in the past. But I'm playing McCaffrey there. Let's see. Jay sends in a question, says, will Murray finish game or should I start Goff? Interesting. You're saying that they may score so many points to where they're up, or are you saying because Kyler Murray this morning there's been a designation of him being sick? So as of right now, I'm playing Murray. Even in the event in which he gets pulled in the fourth quarter because they're up so many points, I would assume that he would be implicated for enough of the contributions. He would facilitate enough of the touchdowns, whether it's on his own or through the air, to where he is more fantasy relevant within the week. So I'm playing Murray there. Old J Running sends in a question, says, I have a follow-up. Rest of season, drop Dak Prescott for Caleb Williams. I would. Again, I have had Caleb Williams ahead of Dak all off season. I will continue to keep it as such until further notice. It says, wait for waivers or drop bench Braylon Allen, Ollie Gordon, Mason. No, I wouldn't drop any of those players. I would honestly rather hold those 3 running backs in hopes, fingers crossed, that one of them are a lottery ticket running back that can really be a helpful starter for the future. I think regardless of how, honestly, this is what my suggestion is, OJ Running. So considering Braylon Allen and Ollie Gordon played today, this is legitimately how you should play fantasy. Apologies, I just dropped something. This is how you should effectively play fantasy football. So considering Caleb Williams plays tomorrow, you could still pick him up tomorrow morning. So what I mean by that is if you're playing in a league in which you can pick up players prior to their games being played, as you should. If you have a league rule in which that's not the case, please call your commissioner right now and have them revert that, because that is an absolute clown rule. In the event in which Braylon Allen or Ollie Gordon are no-shows in week 1 and they do nothing, drop them and pick up Caleb Williams tomorrow morning. But until then, hold all 3 of these running backs. Let's see how they perform this afternoon. If both Braylon Allen and Ollie Gordon are relevant, then you keep them on roster and you don't worry about the quarterback conversation until further on. But in terms of, let's say Ollie Gordon doesn't get a single rushing attempt today, then at that point, you drop him for Caleb Williams tomorrow morning. Thank you. JT86TN sends in a question. Says, standard scoring flex, Harvey, Waddle, Egbuka, Eckler. Of those available, I'm playing Emeka Egbuka. Or Waddle. Either of the two, I prefer Egbuka though. Thank you. Swolid sends in a question. Says, flex, 1, Sutton, DJ Moore, Aaron Jones, Tyrone Tracy, full PPR. Of the available, DJ Moore is my highest ranked. Thank you. Christian King sends in a question. Thank you, Christian. Appreciate it, brother. Says, flex, Jalen Warren or Jalen Waddle? Great question. Let me check. What's your scoring format, by the way? I think that really does make the difference in terms of which way I go. If we're talking about a full PPR, I'm going to play Waddle. If we're talking about a half PPR, I'm going to play Warren. And then your next question was Ramondre Stevenson or Deebo Samuel. I'd rather play Ramondre Stevenson regardless of scoring. Sorry, scratch that. I'd rather play Deebo Samuel regardless of scoring format in comparison to Stevenson. Thank you. Shelby sends in a question. Shelby, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Says Aaron Jones, Jerome Ford, or Tyrone Tracy. I need 2. Okay. Between Ford and Tracy. Why one over the other? Okay, so let me see here. You have, I don't know what your scoring format is, Shelby, but let's say it is a full PPR, theoretically speaking. So of the available, Tracy is my number 18 in a full PPR. Aaron Jones is my number 22. Jerome Ford is my number 25. So if I was going to pick of the available, Tyrone Tracy, I think, has a lot of value because first and foremost, like I mentioned earlier, 8 of the last 10 matchups between the Giants and the Washington Commanders have been 1-score games. Additionally, Tyrone Tracy is associated with a Russell Wilson offense. Russell Wilson, over the course of the last 2 consecutive years, has had the number 1 check down rate amongst all quarterbacks. He loves to dump it off to his backs. Tyrone Tracy implicated for that. On top of it, considering it's going to be a closer game, he may get more rushing opportunity. When I take that into account in comparison to Jerome Ford, who's most likely going to be in a negative game script and also splitting snaps with Dylan Sampson, I think there's more threat to Ford's upside in comparison to what Aaron Jones and Tracy will provide. That's why I lean in their direction. Thank you, Shelby. Even if in a half PPR, I'd still confirm that I prefer Tracy and Aaron Jones. Luke C sends in a question, says, PPR, please rank Jacoby Myers, David Njoku, Jamison Williams, and Stephon Diggs. Cool. Of the available in a full PPR, I go David Njoku 1, Jacoby Myers 2, Jamison Williams 3, and Diggs 4. Thank you. FRS sends in a question. FRS, there's nothing attached to your question. If you can do me a favor and type it in the live chat, that'd be greatly appreciated. I'm going to check if it is there. If it is not, then do me a favor and type that in. Be sure to include your scoring format. But in the future, please do me a solid and attach it to your super. Thank you. All right, I see your question. FRS VCDS says, in a full PPR, 0.25 points per passing completion. That's too many points per completion, guys. Legitimately, it's not the league is not fair. It's not. Would you drop Tootin or Garendo for May? I would drop Garendo for May immediately. Thank you. Alrighty. Thank you, FRS. Appreciate that. Brian sends in a question. Brian Weiss says, one running back, one flex, Samson, Krosky Merritt, Jaden, Higgins, and Coleman. Of those available, I have Krosky Merritt and Coleman ranked the highest. Thank you. Robert sends in a question. Robert Abramian, Akbar Slavis, says, Egbuka or Jameson, half PPR. I'd rather go Egbuka. Yeah, absolutely. JMO paid and Vegas lines. Yeah, listen, if you want to follow the Vegas lines, I don't have an issue with it. I mean, as of right now, let's see what his current numbers are on Betr in terms of what Jameson Williams receiving yards kind of. Let's see what it looks like, shall we? Jameson Williams. So Jameson Williams, his base is at 53.5 receiving yards. His current base in terms of a full PPR is 10.5 fantasy points on Betr. Egbuka, in comparison, as of right now, has a base of 12.5 fantasy points in a full PPR and 57.5 receiving yards. So I guess it just depends on where you're looking in terms of the kind of like the assumed lines that may be kind of put out there. I understand JMO getting paid is definitely of value. The thing about JMO is that I'm afraid of his touchdown upside. There's so many threats within that offense. Jameson Williams had to score, he scored 9 touchdowns last year, 6 of which were for 40 or more yards, right? If he makes a big play, then great. He deserves it. But Egbuka, in my mind, has the better play this week, Robert. Thanks, man. Benjamin says, 2 wide receivers, 12-man PPR. JMO or Judy? I'd rather play Judy. To the Max says, start Arizona's defense if starting Kamara or the Vikings. You know what? Let me look at the schedule for the Vikings here. Vikings schedule. Because I think I'd just rather have the Vikings rest of season at that point. Yeah. If I was in your position, I'm starting the Vikings today. And I'm playing them also next week against Atlanta. Thank you. King Alex sends in a question. Says, hi, Andrew. Murray illness, Lawrence, Fields, Tua. I'd still, regardless of Murray illness, I'm still playing Trevor Lawrence out of the bunch. Thank you, King Alec. Appreciate it. Again, guys, I see that you guys are sending in these questions, but remember, the rankings that are to the right side of the screen are updated as of this morning. They are there for the singular purposes of trying to answer your questions without having you to potentially even ask them. But I do appreciate you sending that in, Alec. Hopefully, again, you have the direct answer now. Yes, I would play Trevor Lawrence as he is my highest ranked of those 4 available that you mentioned. Thank you. All right, Ben Schillinger sends in a question. Says, Ollie Gordon, Bill, Thielen, Otten, start 2.5 PPR flex. Great question. Let's see where I have Otten in comparison to Thielen in my rankings, and I'll tell you right now. Half PPR, correct? Yes. All righty. Cade Otten, where art thou, brother? Let's see here. Okay, so I have Cade Otten ahead of Ollie Gordon, and I even have him ahead of Adam Thielen. So my 2 suggestions would be to play Bill and Otten this week. Thank you. Rogo sends in a question, says, I had a thought. Did I go wrong? First pick, Gibbs over Bijan Robinson. Time will tell, brother. I mean, look, here's the thing. I would say the answer is yes. I think you did go the wrong direction, but who knows, man? 3 weeks from now, you could have gone the right direction. Who knows? There are so many variables in fantasy football. There's so many things in terms of injuries that could take place. There's improvement. There's regression. There's coaches being fired. There's quarterback changes. Anything could happen. So who knows? I don't know if that's an objective bad move. You got a top 5 running back. Congrats. You're good. You're fine. Don't overthink it. Swampy Thing sends in a question. Says, Ted McMillan or Swift in a non-PPR? I don't have rankings for a non-PPR. But in terms of projection, if I was going to remove receptions from the entire calculation, as of right now, I'd still go Ted McMillan. Thank you. Juan Sardina sends in a question. Thank you, Juan. I appreciate that, my man. Says both PPR, Breece versus Warren. I'd rather play Jalen Warren over Breece Hall. Follow up, Jameson Williams or Breece Hall. I'd rather play Jameson Williams. So give me anybody who's not Breece Hall in this scenario, Juan. Thank you. Kiwi Sports Mage. Kiwi, what's up, my man? How's it going? Says, is there any other way to buy your live rankings? Surely? Question mark. I can't afford premium Patreon from New Zealand. Love your work. Yeah, I mean, there is theoretically no other way. Because you're in New Zealand, you're not going to be able to sign up via Betr. And then I'm assuming in New Zealand, Patreon is probably like way more expensive than it should be because like out of country. Actually, that's only in Canada where it's like crazy, but maybe New Zealand has that same kind of law. There's no other way. It would just be asking me right now. That would be it, brother. Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay. We're about 30 minutes away from the kickoff of week 1. For those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome. Hope you guys are doing well. Stu says, Coach, Discord. I don't want to open my Discord on my computer. It might crash my stuff. So let me see here. Stu, you have my rankings. I don't know why you need to ask. Twisting and turning between Caleb and Bryce. Caleb has better wide receivers. Bryce has easier matchup. I'm playing Caleb, brother. I'm playing Caleb. What was your other question? Ertz this week? Yeah, I like Ertz a lot. I've moved him up considerably in comparison to where he was. But yeah. Caleb and Ertz. You're good to go there, Stu, man. All right, let's see here. Where are we at? Was there anybody else that sent me a message on Discord that I didn't see earlier this morning? Let's see. I see Andre, you're in there. Should I drop McCarthy and go grab the Cardinals defense? I mean, who do you have at quarterback? Trevor Lawrence? Who's your current defense? The Ravens? Yeah, I would. Yes. What does it say? Do I drop Blue and pick up the RB for yes. Okay, cool. Catching up slowly but surely. We're good to go there. All right. There's a lot of you. I'm going to try to just rapid fire a couple of those live chat questions. A lot of them are really easy and can be answered by themselves because of the rankings on screen. So like somebody was asking, do I play Trevor Lawrence or Caleb Williams? I have Trevor Lawrence ranked higher and it is literally right there. Number 7 in comparison to Caleb, who's my number 11. Somebody in the live chat was asking, hey, do I play the Rams or the Texans defense? Right here in about 4, 3, 2, 1, right there. I have the Rams defense as my number 8 and the Texans as my number 10. So again, the rankings on screen should be able to answer your questions. We're going to say this for 18 straight weeks. It is what it is. Anyway, Igbuka or Pollard in a half PPR? Give me Pollard there. Ridley or Warren in a half PPR? Give me Warren there. Waddle or Brees in a full PPR? Give me Waddle there. Andrew, tough one. Please help. Can you choose between half PPR flex, Jones, Eckler, Dunze, Shakir? Aaron Jones is my suggestion, AAA. Thanks, man. All right, let's see here. Catching up on some of these super chat questions that were sent in a moment. Let's see here. We had Noah Curtis who says Waddle or Dunze. I'd much rather play Waddle. Again, with Darren Waller out this week, the potential of Waddle getting a huge boost of opportunity shares is going to be there. I'm playing Waddle. Youssef sends in a question. Thank you very much. Says in a half PPR, Dobbins, Ford, or Debo? I believe in a half PPR, I have Ford or Debo ranked the highest of the bunch. Let me confirm this. In comparison to one another, I have Jerome Ford ranked higher. So Ford is my suggestion. The order at which I would rank them, though, is Ford, Debo, Dobbins. As for your follow-up in a half PPR, Andrews or Laporta, I'd rather play Mark Andrews. Again, Isaiah likely is out. Additionally, Patrick Ricard is out. Additionally, revenge game, redemption game against the Bills. We Buy Homes sends in a question. Hope you're doing well. Long time no see. Says in a non-PPR flex one, Igbuka, Diggs, Jones, Mason, Harvey. Non-PPR? I think I have to play Aaron Jones or Igbuka there. Am I going to play Igbuka in a non-PPR over Aaron Jones? Probably not. I think we just go with Aaron Jones in that circumstance. I think that's how we have to. Legit Llama sends in a question. Says Pearsall or Jalen Warren? Full PPR. As of right now, in my full PPR rankings, Pearsall is 3 spots ahead of Jalen Warren. Thank you. Sergio Rios says, after the Worthy injury, can you rank these 3 wide receivers? Hollywood, Pearsall, Cup. Are we talking rest of season? If we're talking rest of season, I think it really will depend on how much time Worthy's going to miss. If they come out and they confirm he's going to the injured reserve, I would rank it as Pearsall, Hollywood, and Cup rest of season. I do not see Hollywood surpassing Pearsall's rest of season value, primarily because Rashee Rice returns in week 7, and once he does, Hollywood is vanished. Gone. Good night. Thank you. D sends in a question. D, nothing attached to it. Hopefully you typed it in the live chat. Next time in the future, please make sure to attach your question accordingly. It's also really hard to find your question in the live chat. Okay, so really quickly. All right, let's just really quickly. All right, hold up. Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. I'm just going to suggest something, guys. Please do not come into this live chat and spam. If you do and I see it, I got to put you on timeout. Just for the circumstance of, like, there goes another one. I mean, you just spammed your question 4 times. Take a 30-minute break, come back, and we'll potentially talk about it later. Like, we can't be spamming. There's got to be some online etiquette here. Come on. Like, I get it. You want to get your question answered, but we got to be cleaner about the process. Got to be cleaner. Can't be spamming. Okay, continuing on. D, where's your question, my man? I got to see if I can find it here. I don't see your question in the live chat, D. If you could do me a favor and potentially retype it, that'd be appreciated. Thanks, man. In the future, make sure it's attached. Frosty, what's up, my man? How's it going, Frosty? Hope you're doing well. Says, greetings and salutations. Flex, Swift, Moore, or Pearsall in a PPR. Give me Give me DJ Moore in a full PPR. Thank you. Shivam sends in a question. Shivam Patel says, I have Puka Nacua. Pick 2 between Devontae Adams, Tet McMillan, and Igbukwe. Okay, what do we got here? Devontae Adams, Tet McMillan, Igbukwe. If I'm picking 2 of the bunch, I'm playing Adams and Tet. Thank you. Richard Aziz says, full PPR, Rashid Shaheed or Eckler. Give me an Eckler this week. Thanks, man. Continuing on here. We had a question. Robert Bramian said, Andrew, I missed my question. Okay, yeah. Robert, I was answering it earlier. Let me scroll back up and let me get back to that question real quick. I answered it maybe like 10 minutes ago, but I think I can find it. There it is. You were asking about Igbukwe and Jameson. I went on like a whole spiel for 5 minutes. Igbukwe, the lines actually favor Igbukwe. I favor Igbukwe. That's who I would suggest over Jameson. Thank you. Okay, continuing on. We had a question from Manil Patel, who says, Ridley or Dobbins half PPR? I'd still rather play Ridley there. Tracy or Eckler? I'd rather play Eckler. Sorry, no. I'd rather play Tracy. Apologies. Again, I read the names and my brain stops functioning for a second there. Ridley and Tracy. Manil, thank you. D sends in. Okay, I see your question, D. Thanks, man. Says Mims, Thornton, or Jaden Higgins as my wide receiver 3 today. I would rather play Mims out of the group. Or Travis Hunter as my wide receiver 3 and pick up an IDP. I think the competitive advantage that you're going to have with Hunter as your IDP, unless the IDP player averages more than Mims, which again, I don't know. I don't play in an IDP league. So that's something that you're going to have to decide. I think that the competitive advantage that Hunter is going to provide in comparison to another cornerback, I think I would rather play Hunter in the IDP and just roll with Mims this week as your wide receiver 3. Thank you. Mr. Tres Cero Cinco, what's up, my man? How's it going? It says J-Moore Igbukwe. I'm going Igbukwe this week. It says full point per reception. Also, is Tootin RB3 a stash? Yeah, he's a stash, but he's a deep stash. Again, you're going to have to wait a couple weeks, or maybe this week. We'll have to wait and see how, Liam Cohen wants to function in this backfield as we proceed. Wrong word. Nathan J says, hey, Andrew. Nathan, how's it going, brother? Long time no see. Says, in a non-PPR, I need a flex between Braylon Allen, Dylan Sampson, and Ollie Gordon. As it currently stands, of the available 3 options you just mentioned, in a non-PPR, I am playing Braylon Allen. Thank you. The Killer Club says, Tracy or Henderson, half PPR. The half PPR rankings are on screen, so theoretically speaking, I would play Tracy as of this week. Thank you. Again, for those of you joining me this morning, rankings right here are up to date on screen for a half PPR scoring format. Thank you. Okay, let's hear. Achane or Jacobs PPR? I'd rather play Achane. Hey, Andrew, I did the better method, but never got the rankings sent to me. Okay, if you could do me a favor, send me an email. There's an email in the link. There's an email down in the description of the video. There's a possibility in which once you were doing the steps of the entire sign-up process, you may have messed up on one of the potential steps because, again, Like I've mentioned on multiple occasions, when you sign up via Betr using code Andrew, you have to make a first-time deposit minimum of 10. And then the first-time play that you make, or you have to make a singular play within one of the $10 that you deposited. So because when you sign up currently on Betr, it says new users get a free $10, you have to designate between the free 10 that you get and the deposited 10. You have to use one of the $10 of the deposited in order for it to be considered a real cash play, and then you're updated on my list. Otherwise, you may have already done that. Check your spam folder. Thank you. Alrighty. Good to go there. Continuing on. Someone said, I'm so ready for football. Yeah, America, I agree, brother. Calvin Ridley or Jamison Williams in a full PPR? Let me see where I have them ranked, brother. 1 second. I have them back to... Well, no, that's not it. Sorry. Let's go over here. Full PPR. I still have Calvin Ridley ahead of him. I promise you guys, it's not that I dislike Jamison Williams. I swear, I think he's an incredibly talented football player. I swear. But he just does not project out well for me this week. That's just it. And I know there's a lot of people that are like, you hate Jamison. It's like, look, I don't hate him. Trust me. I love fantasy football. I love all these players. I've got shares of all of them, but I just don't really think the Green Bay matchup bodes well for him tonight. Okay, Anything sends in a question. Anything says, Jacoby Myers or Waddle? I'd like to play Waddle there, Anything. Thank you very much for the super. Catacomb Kid, what's up? How's it going? It says, RJ Harvey or Hunter today? I would rather play Hunter today, especially if it's a full PPR. Also, play Christian McCaffrey. Abso-freaking-lutely 1,000% play McCaffrey. We Buy Home says, keep Murray in or pick up Bryce Young, Tua, or Love. I would keep Murray in. If you were very hesitant on playing Murray, I guess you can just follow the rankings on screen. Love would be my next highest ranked quarterback going into this week. Thank you. But again, I would rather play Murray. Hector Barrera sends in a question. Says Harvey or Egbuka PPR? I would rather play Egbuka. Thank you, Hector. Appreciate it. Mano Patel sends in a follow-up. Says, why Ridley over Dobbins in a half PPR? Primarily because I don't know what to expect to see out of Dobbins. He could come out as the starter. He could be the backup. He could be in a 50-50 timeshare split. Considering that is the case, there is a high likelihood in which this offense scores enough points to where they're just running out the clock in the second half, and the running out of the clock could even be taking place by a Jaleel McLaughlin or a Tyler Batty. There's multiple running backs that could be implicated for rushing upside in the second half. If Dobbins is the starter in the first half, Harvey could take all of the second half workload. There's just a very difficult line of projection to kind of be able to designate how this backfield is going to transpire and how we're going to see this, kind of opportunity share split up between him and Harvey. To which I'd rather just play Ridley in a negative game script in comparison. Monil, you're claiming, yes, you're saying Dobbins is the RB1 and the goal line back. Until I see that with my own eyes, I don't know if that's the case. Legitimately. I can speculate on the matter. I just can't guarantee that to be the case. Because they could get down to the goal line, and what if Harvey comes in and he punches it in at that point? What if they're going to go with just putting it out there. Let's say, for example, if you guys remember watching the Detroit Lions last year, there would be full sequences of times in which it would be the entire drive is Montgomery. And then the next two drives is all Gibbs. And then it's back to Montgomery. Then 2 drives of Gibbs. It could be something of that exchange. We don't know what it's going to look like. I prefer playing Ridley. One of one sends in a question. Says, please help start 2. Green Ellis, Winslow, or Manningham. Listen, if we're actually going to be talking about these kind of players, I don't even remember Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis actually being that relevant. Maybe he had one good year for Cincinnati. Let's see this. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. Did he have more than one solid season for the Cincinnati Bengals? For New England, he had 1 year of 1,000 yards and 13 rushing touchdowns in 2010. And then he had one good season with the Bengals. So technically, had 2 good fantasy seasons. So I'll take him and Winslow. Leave Manningham on the bench. Thanks, one of one. Appreciate it, brother. Romo was better than Aikman. What a YouTube name, huh? Half PPR. 5 points bonus for every once a player goes over 100 receiving yards or rushing. Kenneth Walker or Tet McMillan. I don't even expect either of them to surpass 100 yards. So I wouldn't really I wouldn't implicate that to be a guarantee of any sort. I'm playing Kenneth Walker there between the two. Him and McMillan, I'll take Kenneth Walker. Crypt Keeper sends in a follow-up. Says Tracy or Swift in a PPR. I have Tracy 1 spot ahead of Swift in a full PPR. It says huge bonus for 40-yard plays. I think anything like 100 yards bonus or, big plays in terms of yardage giving you extra points, those are impossible to guess and predict. You can barely predict touchdowns in the NFL. If we could predict touchdowns every week, you know how many entries on Betr I'd make, how many plays I would, put in if I could guess touchdowns in terms of like rushing, receiving. It's just too difficult. So in this circumstance, I'm still playing Tracy there. Cowboys 955 sends in a question. Says Damian Pierce or Rico Dowdle? I'd rather play Rico Dowdle in a full PPR. Thanks, man. Jake D'Antonio says full PPR start Ridley, J-Mo, Aaron Jones. As of right now, the way that I have it constructed, flip a coin between Aaron Jones and J-Mo because I have Ridley ahead of both. As for Aaron Jones and J-Mo, full PPR, I could justify playing one over the other. I have them literally split in my rankings by less than a point difference. I mean, it's, 0.6 points in favor of Aaron Jones. If you wanted to play J-Mo, I don't have an issue with that, Jake. Thanks, man. But as of right now, Ridley and Aaron Jones are my suggestions. Apologies. Swift or Rome? I'd rather play Swift. Somebody was asking, Igbuka, Pearsall, J-Mo, Tyreek Hill, Sutton, rank order. It's on screen. Thanks, man. Eckler or Aaron Jones in a PPR? At that point, we just got to play Aaron Jones. 15 minutes? Yeah. 14 minutes. Sheesh. Tracy or Pearsall in the flex? Standard. Tracy. Justice Reborn. What's up, man? How's it going? Stats 2 rest of season PPR. Isaac Tesla, Torrey Horton, Woody Marks. I'll take Horton and Marks. Thank you. PPR cut 1. Eckler, Charbonnet, Brian Robinson Jr. I would feel most comfortable in the assumption that you do not have CMC cutting Brian Robinson before I cut Eckler and Charbonnet, because Eckler and Charbonnet can actually contribute on a weekly basis while Brian Robinson is a handcuff. Now, do I feel comfortable cutting him? God, no. But if you have to pick up a kicker or defense, that's the guy that takes the axe. Swift or Harvey in a standard? I'd rather play Swift there, Alex Lopez. Thanks, man. Lex sends in a question. Lex says in a full PPR, Chuba Hubbard, Cortland Sutton, or DJ Moore? In a full PPR as it stands, I currently have DJ Moore and Cortland Sutton ranked the highest of the 3. It goes DJ Moore 1, Cortland Sutton 2, Chuba Hubbard 3 in a full PPR. Thanks, man. That's primarily because I expect Chuba Hubbard to lose a little bit of his receiving workload to Rico Dowdle going forward here. Somebody was asking in the chat, this is from Tanner C43, says Pollard to Debo. Give me Pollard there. Mr. Tres 05 says, my boy, trying to clean up my bench spots. I have Bigsby and Tootin. Should I carry both? In another league, I have Judkins and Sampson carry both. Judkins is going to probably play next week. I would drop Sampson by then. I don't mind holding him right now, unless you want to potentially go pick up another lottery ticket option. As for Bigsby and Tootin, let's see how this week plays out. Let's see what kind of a workload share of opportunity this backfield kind of consists of, and then at that point we can evaluate it and potentially clean them up on Tuesday's waiver wire going into week 2. Thanks, man. Somebody was asking J-Mo, Waddle, Montgomery. Give me Waddle there. Kamikaze, what's up, man? Says in a half PPR, Igbuka, DJ Moore, Pollard. I'll take Pollard and DJ Moore in a half PPR over Igbuka. Even though I want to play Igbuka in every opportunity I have this week, in this circumstance, definitely going to look towards the potential of going elsewhere. In terms of the alternative options you have here. Okay, we have a couple updates. Jaden Reed expected to play week 1, which was expected. And according to Jay Glazer, Travis Hunter will play the slot in week 1. You know, the funny thing is Glazer gets paid to make that opinion or make that statement. I could have made that statement about 10 years ago. Legitimately, like when you're joining... If preseason week 1, that was established. We knew he was going to play in the slot. Like, I mean, what are we talking about? And we know that Liam Cohen, what has he done with the slot receivers? Oh, let's think about it. Oh, we had Cooper Kupp in 2022 when Liam Cohen was the offensive coordinator of the Rams. And we had Chris Godwin last year prior to getting injured with Liam Cohen with Tampa Bay. I mean, incredible production from slot receivers. Again, you should expect Hunter to play well today. Okay. Hey Wad sends in a question. Thank you, Hey Wad. Eckler or Montgomery? Depends on format. Let me check how I have them currently structured out. In the event in which we are playing in a half PPR, I could justify playing Montgomery. In a full PPR, it has to be Eckler. Okay, we had a question. It came in from Pablo Knight. Pablo, I don't see your question. Let me see if I can. Let's give me a chance here. Pablo Knight says Stephon Diggs, Deebo Samuel, Breece Hall, or Garrett Wilson in the flex. Pablo, what's your scoring format, my man? Let me know. Thanks, man. Ryan Kennedy sends in a question. Says full PPR, ETN, Harvey, Odunze, pick one. Let me check where I have ETN comparatively, because I think that's kind of the decision maker here. Where's Odunze? I have Odunze ranked the highest of the bunch. I'm going Odunze there, Ryan. Sway says, my question answered earlier, question mark? Give me a moment, Sway. Let me see if I can find it, my man. Yeah, Sway, I went on like a 10-minute rant. Legitimately, a 10-minute rant for your question. I'm not even joking. I did a full breakdown for your question. Again, just to give you the spark notes of it, RB2 is the riskiest part of your team, but hopefully in due time, Tracy or Merritt will take that spot. I was also mentioning you should drop Penix unless this is a super flex format. And otherwise, your wide receiver position should carry you rest of the season. Tight end looks solid. And once Loveland proves to be a startable option every week, at that point, trade him or Hawkinson. Okay, Pablo Knight, let's get back to you. Let's see what your scoring format was, brother. Hunter or Harvey? I'd rather play Hunter, legitimately. I've had him ranked higher for a little bit now. Glazer says Christian McCaffrey expected to be a full go. Glazer, you're an hour 40 minutes late, brother. Okay. Daryl Zhang says Diggs or Golden. I have Golden ranked higher, Daryl. Cash Kid Cardi says McLaurin or Judy in a standard. I'd rather have McLaurin, especially for the touchdown upside there. Diggs, Hunter, Dobbins. I'm going Hunter there in a half PPR. James Moore says PPR, Otten, Strange, or Ray McLeod. Pick two. I'll take Ray McLeod and Otten. K Quicks says Stafford or Penix. Thoughts on Penix this year? I have Penix ranked higher today. Thank you. Kyler illness but active. Murray or Fields? I'd still rather play Murray. Jordan game coming inbound from Kyler. Imagine. Diggs or Ridley? I'd rather play Diggs. I mean, I'd honestly rather just play Ridley there. Yeah, he's ranked higher. Kyler or Bo Nix? Got to play Bo Nix. Again, guys, the rankings that are on screen, as I've said for the 1000th time today, are updated as of this morning. Where's Pablo, man? Pablo, where you at, my man? I'm trying to figure out what your scoring format is. Pablo, you disappear, brother? In the event in which you hear this, Pablo, and it's like a half PPR, I'd probably just play Breece Hall there. If it's a full PPR, give me Garrett Wilson. Thanks, man. All right, let's see here. We had a question from Crazy Presents. It says, half PPR, do I start Ted McMillan or Igbuka? I'd rather play Ted McMillan. If you felt some conviction regarding Igbuka, I don't have an issue with it, but I have to, I got to lean towards Ted McMillan there. Charlene, again, I see you in live chat. If you didn't hear me earlier, I greatly appreciate the very kind words that you shared with me earlier this morning prior to the live stream beginning. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Kamikaze, Igbuka, DJ Moore, or Pollard. Again, Kamikaze, I think I answered this before. Maybe you got hit with an ad. Pollard and DJ Moore are my suggestions there. Anadi, what's up, my man? Anadi says, hi, Andrew. We don't trust Javonte Williams, right? Do we stash a backup to him? I mean, yeah, theoretically you can, but that's a speculation as to whether or not he doesn't actually continue to play well. He looked great. I'll tell you that much. Kelvin Brooks says, I'm torn between Garrett Wilson and Matthew Golden because of the Steelers defense. Let me see where I have them ranked right now. So in a half PPR between those two potential prospects, I have Garrett Wilson as my number 26. I have Golden as my 29, mainly because Reed is playing. I'd still play Garrett Wilson there. I could understand the possibility of potentially being sketched out about that matchup against Slay, Porter Jr., and Ramsey with Fields at quarterback. A little bit of uncertainty. I get it. If you wanted to play Golden, I don't think it's a bad idea. I think they're both still like wide receiver threes this week, ultimately. Hi, should I start Hunter or Pollard in a full PPR? I would rather play Pollard. Thank you. Juan Torres says, in a full PPR, Pollard or Purdy? I would rather play Purdy. T-Law or Hunter? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't understand the question, Juan. Am I picking a pair? Am I picking Pollard / Purdy or Trevor Lawrence and Hunter? If you can kind of give me an indication on that, that'd be helpful. Tucker Kraft or Evan Ingram? I'd rather play Tucker Kraft. More touchdown upside. Again, if you want to be a top 12 ranked tight end in fantasy football, over the course of the last 3 seasons, in order to be a top 12 ranked tight end within a given week, you have to score a touchdown almost guaranteed or have over 70 receiving yards and 4 receptions. That's the average. Mainly because 8 of the top 12 tight ends typically score touchdowns. Now, there have been weeks in which only 3 touchdowns have been scored by tight ends, and those are the top 3 guys. But if you want to score, you got to have touchdown upside, so we lean towards Tucker Kraft in that scenario. Juan, where are you, my man? Are you in here somewhere? It says Pollard and Purdy or stack Lawrence and Hunter. Got it. So if I'm picking one of the 2 stacks for today, give me the Lawrence Hunter because I think that has more upside. Even though I think that Purdy and Pollard have like the floor of production, I just have a hard time. Yeah, especially if it's a full PPR. If it's a half PPR, just give me the Purdy Pollard side because the running back just takes favor at that point. DeRozan, what's up, my man? Says Ollie, Sharbs, Leggett, Sampson, half PPR, deep flex. If I'm playing a flex out of those available in a half PPR, let me check how I have Charbonnet compared to Leggett real quick. And then I will contribute. Let's see here. I have Leggett ranked higher than all of them in a half PPR. Thank you. Yo, Andrew, will I win this week? Good one, bro. I don't even know if I'm winning this week, so how am I supposed to tell you you're winning? Tracy or Ridley, full PPR. I like Tracy this week. What's up, Donald Smith? Says Chuba Hubbard, Emeka Egbuka, or Cortland Sutton, full PPR. I have Cortland ranked the highest. Chuba number 2, Egbuka number 3. James Moore says Pats or Jets defense. I have them ranked on screen. I believe I have the Jets at my number 5. Patriots is my number 7. So I'd go with the Jets there. But again, they're both really good options if you want to play the Pats. I think the Pats also have a good matchup next week. Patriots schedule. Hold up. Patriots take on the Dolphins next week. So you could not only like kind of play them this week, but parlay them into next week's play. I think that could work. Like just proxy, just keep it rolling. Still worried about Pearsall now that Christian McCaffrey is playing. Who's worried about Pearsall? Listen, if you've come here to talk about Pearsall worries, this is not the place. I'm all in on Pearsall. Nick Lothert says trade Debo for Brian Robinson Jr., Christian McCaffrey owner. Yeah, I think for insurance purposes, I don't mind it, assuming you have enough wide receiver depth to be able to take that kind of a move and have it come to, yeah, I'm okay with that because, again, it's an insurance move, and I think insuring your future is very important for the remainder of the season. Hall or Egbuka in a non-PPR? I think I still play Egbuka there. I'm going to be honest. I do not like Hall this week, mainly because that Steelers defense has great run stop. How did the guys Olave's takes from last season age? What does that even mean? Olave got concussions. I'm hoping he never plays football again because the guy, I want him to live longer. I don't even know what this guy's on about. I think I had Olave, as a top 24 wide receiver last season? Up until injury, he was. Drew, Kamikaze, I've answered it 4 times, brother. Moore and Pollard. I've answered it 4 times, Kamikaze. Where have you been, brother? All right, Zen, you're going to be the final question of this evening. Says 4 out of 5, full PPR. Egbuka, Wilson, Sutton, Jamison, Pearsall. Sutton number 1, Egbuka number 2, Pearsall number 3, and Wilson number 4. Chris Owen sends in a final question. Hey, Andrew, I'm excited about this season. Okay, another season. Thank you very much. Don't have a lot of good flex options this week, but Hunter Renfrow or Mike Gesicki? Yeah, I'll take Hunter Renfrow. I didn't even rank Mike Gesicki this week. That's how much I don't expect him to do anything. Yeah, I don't really like the matchup against Cleveland either. They've been pretty good against tight ends in terms of their coverage. All right, guys. Is Christian McCaffrey playing? Yes, play him. Start him. All right, guys. Good luck this week. I appreciate it. This was a very fun, conclusive 3 hours. Again, winning week 1 is not the goal. Getting to the playoffs is our goal. And week over week, we are going to kind of shuffle through this marathon that we call the fantasy football season, and we're going to accomplish wins here and there. Do not let the outcome of week 1 put you on full tilt. Do not overreact on players. It is week 1 of a potential 17, week season ahead of us. So again, understand that there's a lot of potential for the future, kind of balancing out everything. Just because A.J. Brown has 1 reception week 1 doesn't mean that that's what he's going to average every week for the remainder of the season. Have some hope. I appreciate y'all coming through. Much love. And that's going to be it. I'm here for Overreaction Monday, says Sling. Yeah. All right, guys. Crazy Presents with the final question. Says Tet McMillan or Igbuka. I thought I answered this before. For you exactly. Oh, no, I did. Sorry, my chat just broke. Oh, my chat is like completely cooked. Oh, wowie. We good? We've caught up. Chris Owens. Yeah. All right, guys. That's it. I'm going to call it. Enjoy Red Zone, however you watch the games. And until tomorrow, where we'll be talking about all things waiver wire. And, of course, live streaming tomorrow night after the Monday Night Football game. I'll see you guys. Good luck. Peace.